As they say, the most powerful city in the world, the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. That's where we are for this MEAC matchup between South Carolina State and the Howard University Bison. It's a great day for football in November here in the nation's capital. 70 degrees, the wind very little, and the forecast is for clear skies. Charlie Neal along with Jay Walker here, and you look at these two coaches for this particular team. We start with the visiting coach. We're talking about Buddy Pugh. He's done a fantastic job in his 4th year as the head man in Orangeburg, South Carolina. 30-13. That is his record. A 69% winning percentage. On his counterpart, Ray Petty, also in his 4th year as the head coach at Howard University. A record of 20-21. They've struggled a little bit this year coming into today's game. 4-4 overall, but only 1 win in conference play, 1-4.
And these are two coaches that came in at the same time, and for Buddy Pugh, it was a matter of replacing a legend in Willie Jefferson. He's done a great job with the Bulldog program, and Rayford Petty had to replace Coach Wilson, a coach who did very well here at Howard University, winning 2 national championships. So they both have the program on the right track.
Howard University will get the opening kickoff to start the game. They're dressed in their home dark jerseys, and it's coming down right now.
Let it go, let it go.
On the return for Howard University, bringing it back was Jamar Smith, while Patrick Reed made the stop for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. So Howard University will get the ball, first down and 10, right at the 25-yard line. And Venters, who's missed the last couple of games with an elbow injury, will get the start today. He had lost feeling in his fingers and his pinky and his ring finger and his pinky finger. And he'll get the start today from their own 25. Howard goes to work, first down and 10. The running back behind the quarterback is Antoine Rutherford. Running from the eye. In motion, Jerron Williams. Williams on a reverse. Gets a block, comes down the sideline, and is bounced out of bounds right in front of the Howard University bench by Terrence Bennett, who makes the stop defensively. Let's look at the offense for Howard University up front. Well, the backs and receivers, Duncan Tyson, Jerron Williams, Sam Buck is the tight end, Keon Coleman is the other running back. And the offensive line, Alex Godfrey is the center. Randall White and Travis Harmon are the guards. Richard Dorsey is back in the lineup today, along with Willie Shine. Dorsius had been injured. He missed all of the season of 2002 with an injury, and he's back in the lineup today. Second down. Keon Coleman bounces it back inside, has the first down to the 45-yard line. Big gain by Keon Coleman, a gain of 16 on that run. Finally stopped by B.J. Rivas as we look at the defense for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Their down lineman, Travis Kinlock, along with Epps and DeLorean Shaw. The linebackers are good ones. Tony White, McFadden, you'll be hearing their name a lot today, along with Terrence Bennett and Pierre Johnson. The secondary, Corley is one to watch out for, along with Wesley Middleton, William Oliver, and David Broom. It is first down and 10. Howard University, one of the things they wanted to do, Jay, establish the running game, and so far they've done that early. Second play, they give it off to the fullback, Kevin Tyson, and Tyson maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, you talk about Howard University wanting to establish the running game early. When you've got a quarterback that hasn't played in over 2 weeks, you don't want him to take any hits at all, or as few hits as possible. And in Venner's case, if he can throw the ball 10 to 15 times a day, I'm sure A.C. Cawthorn and the coaching staff at Howard would be very satisfied. And if South Carolina State, early on in the game, you got to establish that the run game will not be there and force Howard to throw the football.
One of the things as good of running backs as they have in Coleman and Jamar Smith, along with Antoine Rutherford and Terry Perry, who we'll see probably all of them today, is they're only averaging about 136 yards a game in rushing.
Yeah, they kind of do it by committee, and the offensive line for Howard does the best job. They're one of the better offensive lines in the conference. They just got to be able to put it together. They haven't had the ability to score a lot of points. They can run the ball all the way downfield, but once you get in the red zone, the red zone offense is really suffering because no team's just going to let you pound the ball consistently all the way down the field.
They're dead last in the red zone offense as far as the conference is concerned. And you talk about the history between these two schools. 24-9 is the series lead by the Bulldogs of South Carolina State, who won 4 of the last 5 meetings, and Howard University last won in 2002 last year. But when they played it down in Orangeburg, South Carolina. 23-16 was the final score of that one. Howard committed 8 penalties, 118 yards, and managed only 3 field goals. That was basically what they got, 1 touchdown in that contest.
Yeah, you know, when you got teams like that, it's always going to be a hard-hitting game between these two teams. I mean, we talk about the Howard University defense, the Bison. They're one of the best defenses in the conference as well as the country. But South Carolina State, they're no slouch on defense either. You know, they're known, they like to get out there and chase after the quarterback and hit people. So when you watch these two teams play, expect a low-scoring game, but a defensive battle.
Number 2 in scoring defense in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference are the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Howard has spent one of its timeouts here in the first half early on. And now Venters has his team set with a 2nd down and 9 as Williams goes in motion. Venters to pass. Well, he lost the ball and had to fall on it. He loses yards all the way back to the 35-yard line, maybe not getting the feeling in those fingers that he wanted. And we have a late flag coming in.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. You know, we can't feel things down there in his pinky, and right there the ball just slips out his hand. Looked like he had a good grip on the football, but when you're only holding a football with 3 fingers instead of the normal 5 that you need, things like that may happen. Now you see why they don't want to throw the football. They want to throw the football as few as possible if they can, and you know, it's just a tough thing. I can't imagine as a quarterback going out there and throwing the ball with 3 fingers. I can hand it off, but trying to make the pass would be very difficult.
False start against Howard University that lost 11 on the previous play. And now the penalty was declined. And that'll bring up, after the ball was bobbled, that'll bring up 3rd down. Our referee today, Preston Harding. I talked to Donald the other day, watched him in practice, and he was saying that, you know, he found himself gripping the ball harder with the 3 fingers plus the thumb.
Trying to overcompensate.
Yeah. 3rd down conversions for Howard this year, 27%. And the handoff trying to go to the left side is Terry Perry, and he slips down before he can get any traction and get anything going. But that'll bring up a 4th down punting situation. And that'll bring on Noam Dror, a sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland, who as a punter is averaging about 38 yards per punt this year. He has had 3 blocks. Deep man for South Carolina State, the very dangerous Dominique Henry, a freshman out of Florence, South Carolina. They have Rod Darby, also a kickoff return man who's dangerous. So they have people who can get it done on special teams. Dror throws it. Boy, I'll tell you, that didn't look like it had anything positive going for it. From the word go. I
mean, it was such an ugly play. You didn't know if they were faking it or not. The wide receiver was open. He completed the pass, but you'll take a look here. Just pressure coming down the middle. When you get a punter that's had 3 punts blocked already, he starts to look at the defensive line coming in the rush, so he wasn't going to risk getting the kick blocked. So at least he completed the pass. But one of the things that's going to make the difference between a good team and a middle-of-the-pack team is special teams. The South Carolina State has solid special teams, while the Howard University Bison struggle in all facets of the special teams game.
And you give South Carolina State the short field. They get the ball 1st down and 10 at the 40 of Howard with Cleveland McCoy, a redshirt sophomore from Hollywood, South Carolina, and Baptist Hill High, leading the charge, and he gives off to Deshaun Baker, trying to go to the right side. And Baker picks up a couple of yards down to about the 38-yard line. Let's go to backs and receivers for the Bulldogs. We talked about Darby at one receiver, Kelly King along with Fred Smith. And you look at the offensive line. Raymond Harrison is the center along with Pringle and Lee, the guards. Clyde Reed and Nate Richardson are the tackles. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Back to pass is McCoy out in the flat. He has it complete. And it's Burgess on the reception. He's about a yard shy of a 1st down. Chris Burgess finally stopped by Antoine Bethea right on the far sideline, right in front of the South Carolina, or I should say South Carolina State bench. The defense for Howard, Jesse Hayes, a good one. Edward Heiner along with Marvin Wooten and Michael Brown. The down lineman, Michael Bowie, Tim Lockett, and Daniel Pierce on the linebackers. Will be back with the secondary. On 3rd and 1, full house backfield for South Carolina State now. Baker, and he gets the 1st down with ease. down to the 30-yard line. Let's look at the secondary of Howard University. We talked about Antoine Bethea and how he needs to come up big today, along with Jamar Butler, the other safety, the cornerbacks, Jeffrey Pope on one corner, and Joe Claiborne, who's a sophomore, Renaissance High in Detroit, on the other corner.
On that run there, it seemed like the Bison defense did a good job of pushing the running back backwards, and that's one of the strengths. We talk about those numbers and stats for the Howard University Bison, and Bethea is a big reason for that because he's a free safety. But you can't lead the nation in defense in any category unless you got a front four that can get it done. When we talk about Howard University, that front four, the key I think is Jesse Hayes. I mean, you got a big nose tackle that weighs over 400 pounds. He's a run stopper there, and getting 1 yard is not going to be an easy task. And you see right there, it looks like the big run stopper did his job, and the Bulldogs came about an inch short, maybe a pound short. And you talk about Jesse Hayes weighing over 400 pounds. But, that's the key. The Howard defense is so good because they got 3 out of 4 D linemen that are really, really good. They got 2 out of 3 linebackers that are really, really good. And they got 3 out of 4 people in the secondary that are really, really good. And that's how you come up with one of the best defenses in the country.
And you got Jeffrey Pope back there, young man who started his career out of Eastern Michigan University, and then Jamar Butler, who came in from Long Beach Community College. So it's inches short. I thought he had it, and it'll bring up a 4th and inches. And let's see if the Howard defense can stiffen right here. They're South Carolina State's 53% in 4th down conversions, 8 of 15. That ranks them 3rd in the conference in that department. And let's see who they give it to this time. 4th and inches. Quarterback, McCoy. I don't think he got it. I don't think McCoy got it.
I'm telling you, when you got 400 pounds in the middle, quarterback sneaks may not be the way to go. And, you talk about this Howard defense, this is one of the few things about this ball squad that's as good as advertised. I mean, they're tough, they're physical, they can hit, and they can stop you from getting an inch, as we just saw there just now.
Well, they're fired up. The Howard players, Michael Bowie and the gang, don't think that they made it. And they do. They turn it over on downs. That is the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. And we said at the beginning, Jay, defense was the buzzword of the day for the Bison.
Yeah, I mean, they can punt. Look at this push. You see no penetration at all. McCoy's looking for some place. He tries to go up the middle, nowhere to go. He tries to slide, nowhere to go. Bodies all over the place. It was a good job by Marvin Wooten of getting that extra surge to go along with Jesse Hayes. And what a great defensive stand for Howard University.
Especially after giving up the short field. And now Howard takes over on downs at their own 30. Their second offensive possession of the afternoon. 1st down and 10. Second back is Keon Coleman. Coleman still on his feet. Breaks a tackle. He's inside the 30. 25. Put from behind by William Oliver, but not before he picked up great yards all the way down inside the 10.
Oh, Keon Coleman showing you how special he is. We talked about Howard University having a bunch of running backs. Look at the lead block by the fullback, Kevin Tyson, number 40. You see him seal. He gets an arm on 2 Bulldog defenders to spring Coleman, and the rest was Coleman there. You can't arm tackle Keon Coleman, the senior there. And a good job by South Carolina State to make the tackle, but that's why Coleman can do it. Take a look at number 40 on the outside. Gets a body on 2 Bulldog defenders. That's what you want your fullback to do, just to get in the way and seal the outside. Coleman turned on the Jets there. Great running play for Howard University and Keon Coleman.
59 yards on the run. Oliver saved the day. The senior from Orangeburg, and it's 1st and goal for Howard University. Coleman again cuts it inside, trying to follow the fullback, Tyson, and they got bogged up there.
Yeah, now what you saw there was Kevin Corley, the strong safety, taking a better angle of pursuit, not allowing Coleman to be sprung outside. He forced the run inside, which is what you got to do. And, we talked to Robbie Wells, the defensive coordinator of South Carolina State. He said he likes to force everything inside because on the inside is where he's got McFadden. That's good team defense by the Bulldogs on that last running play.
So they lost a yard. So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 11. Jamar Smith is in the backfield with Tyson. It's Smith with the ball. Smith cuts it in. Smith inside the 5 to about the 2. Flag is down.
I'm really impressed with this offensive line for Howard University. I mean, South Carolina State knew Howard was not going to throw the football. They loaded the box, and they still couldn't stop Howard from running a successful running play.
Let's see what our penalty flag is all about. Our referee will let us know, Preston Harding. And it's against Howard University. Wesley Middleton in there to make sure things didn't get very far. Let's look at it once again, Jay.
I mean, you see everything is loaded inside, but watch out. That's the hole right there. They caught the center right there. Alex Godfrey got caught. You know, the nose guard had already over pursued, but what a good job by the line to be able to just push the Bulldogs away. And penalties like this are part of the reason why the Howard University offense is last in conference play in the red zone.
Here's a team that's averaging 70 yards in penalties per contest. Remember, the ball was all the way down to the 10-yard line. They had a first and goal after the 59-yard run by Keon Coleman. Now it is second down. And here's Coleman cutting it back inside, and he's down at about the 17-yard line. Travis Henderson on the stop defensively.
At some point, Ronald Venters is going to have to complete a pass. You know, when I talked to Howard head coach Ray Petty, why would Venters start? A quarterback can't field. He said, well, basically for the running game, he's got the senior leadership. He gets us into the proper run calls that we need. That's only going to get you so far, because once you get down here, you got to throw the football sooner or later. It'll be interesting to see if Venters can't throw the ball, how long he stays in the football game.
Two tight ends. Alfred Sutton comes in along with Sam Buck in the lineup. Lone setback is Jamar Smith. Venters. He'd been better off throwing it, because there was no way he was going to get to the end zone. That was a 3rd and goal. From about the 17, it'll bring up a 4th down situation. We'll see Noam Brewer, who this season has made only 1 field goal. They normally take more chances in the red zone because the kicking game has kind of left them. He's a left-footed kicker, sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland. His longest was a 36-yarder. This one's up. It has the distance, and it is good. So he's made 2 of 7 in the field goal department this year. And Howard University gets on the scoreboard first. We'll be back. It's 3-0 with 7:12 to go. First quarter.
You can add a couple more defenders with CGI. That would make me look more like a hero, you know, superhero.
You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football between South Carolina State and Howard University. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action. Here's the option. McCoy keeps it. Maybe a yard or 2, and that's about it. Antoine Bethea coming up from the safety position to make the stop. Bethea, senior. He's out of Denby High down in Newport News, Virginia. Came into the season as one of the candidates for the Buchanan Award as the Defensive Player of the Year in 1AA.
And as the season's progressed, he hasn't done anything to hurt his chances. He's still on the watch list for that award, and a 3-year All-American, as we mentioned in the open. He's just a solid football player. Doesn't make any mistakes, and he has no weaknesses.
Keeping the ball on the ground, and they're running straight ahead. Again, Deshaun Baker, he's been the workhorse for them this year before Bethea again comes up to make the stop. And we talked about Bethea a year ago, 151 yards against Howard University and a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Baker's one of those guys, and you wonder, normally when you got big backs, it takes them a while to get going. You know, 3rd, 4th quarters when they really earn their keep, and Baker's no difference. As the game wears on, he starts getting those extra yards with that body lean and that 220-pound frame. 56-yard run a week ago against Delaware State en route to a 100-yard rushing day. And it comes to the near side with Jonathan Woods. He'll turn the corner, but they will make the stop, but not before Woods got the first down. Let's go to the studio for an update.
All right, no problem. You're talking about SC right now.
Tallahassee, NC State trying to get things going against the Noles. Andre Brown, boy, breaks this one to the outside, cuts it back in. NC State on top, 7-0. Andre Brown, the freshman, takes it to the house. Noles trailing early in that one. Charlie?
That'll be very interesting. North Carolina State can hold on and win that, huh?
You know,
well, they put a whole bunch of stuff in the
mess
game.
Up everything.
Yeah.
Conference play, you never know what you're going to get.
Here's Deshaun Baker cutting back across midfield and into Howard territory. finally stopped at the Howard 48-yard line and stopped by Bethea once again. Bethea, again, is everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, Bethea's one of those guys that can make it happen. You see what South Carolina State's trying to do is run with some misdirection, act like they're running hard to the left and cut back to the right. And then you'll take a look there, Bethea making the tackle. And when you got a big back, don't tackle him high, tackle him at the ankles. And Bethea doing a textbook form tackle on the ankles.
170 yards he gained against Norfolk State. That is Baker this year. He also had 106 in their 14-10 loss to Hampton University, in which was a battle of the top backs in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Here on the quarterback draw, losing a yard is the quarterback, Cleveland McCoy. Slipped down right about the midfield stripe, and he's going to lose about 2 on the play to bring up 3rd and 4.
Take a look at McCoy here back in the shotgun trying to run, and this is going to be tough running because Howard, the front four, has shown they're going to control the line of scrimmage. No place for McCoy to go to. And when you look at McCoy, he's one of those guys where the offensive staff doesn't ask him to do a whole lot, doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. They just don't want him to turn it over, don't fumble, don't throw interceptions, and you can lead this team to victory.
Saw a shot of Buddy Pugh on the sideline, graduate of South Carolina State. Darby on the little comeback pass, has a first down. That's it. He's gone. Touchdown. South Carolina State, no flags from 50 yards out.
Beautiful play there. Beautiful play. I like the way it was set up. You got an over-aggressive defensive front. So what do? You throw a little screen, not to your running back, but a wide receiver screen. And if you get a wide receiver screen to Rodriguez Darby, who's one of the best return men in all college football, he knows what to do with it once he gets the catch.
Now for the point after, Stephen Grantham, freshman out of Florence, South Carolina. He's only missed 2 PATs this year. Kobe Brandenburg, the punter, will hold. He's 31 of 33. He's going to try to make this a 7-3 ball game. Now we get a flag. It may be delay of game. For illegal substitution, let's see what we have. Delay against Howard. Illegal substitution.
I've seen more illegal substitution calls this year in college football than I've seen before. I think that's one of those watch for penalties the NCAA sends out with the referees this year, and it's been called over and over again. If you do it, they're going to catch you.
3:53, the time remaining here. We're in the first quarter. South Carolina State, their second possession, gets on the scoreboard. Grantham trying to make it a 7-3 ball game. It is up. And it is good. And that's the way we stand here in the first quarter. 7-3. And a little screen pass to Rodriguez Darby. This is his 4th touchdown reception of the year. The 9th for Cleveland McCoy. We'll be back. Back at Green Stadium in Washington, D.C., where the Bulldogs of South Carolina State just drove 70 yards, 6 plays, and used 3:14 off the clock and capped it with a 50-yard pass, McCoy to Darby. And it's a 7-3 ball game. Fair catch. Call for and made by one of the up men, the defensive lineman, Mike Brown, number 94 there. And so Howard University will start at their own 24-yard line, their 3rd possession of the afternoon.
And if you're Howard University right now, if you got a quarterback that's going to be very limited throwing the football, you can't afford to fall behind by a lot, meaning you got to hold on to the ball, get some first down, and try and stay within striking distance where it doesn't become a must-have to throw the ball type of game.
Venters got hurt against Morgan State, didn't play against A&T or Norfolk State the last couple of weeks. He's a young man from Bakersfield High in Los Angeles, California. Senior, and he hands off this time. Jamar Smith on the carry. Smith picking up about 4 yards on the play. Glad you could join us for our ESPNU contest, this South Carolina State Howard University contest, a MEAC matchup. I'm Charlie Neal along with my partner Jay Walker, and we got a chance to say congratulations to Jay. Well, as we go along, we haven't even mentioned the fact that, although most people know that He's a Howard University graduate, and he's working at home today. But he was inducted into the Howard University Hall of Fame last night among the 10 that were inducted. And we just want to say congratulations to Jay. It is second down. This time, cutting through, Rutherford. First down across the 40 to the 41-yard line, and finally brought down by Kevin Corley, number 5.
Yeah, and Antoine Rutherford's one of those guys. His freshman year, he rushed for over 1,000 yards, so got plenty of talent. He's a third-string back for Howard right now, but look at the balance and the way he keeps his feet going, and able to absorb a blow at the end of that run there. Rutherford's one of those guys that he's a big load there, so he took a heck of a hit there and still managed to hold on to that football, but that's what happens when you get a running back with great forward lean. The blows you're able to absorb a little bit better.
Third-year man from Hollywood, Florida, came into the game with over 2,000 career yards, and here's Rutherford again, pulling away from people and picking up about 8 to the midfield stripe. And that's what Howard has to do, is get that running game going, and whether it's student body right or student body left, because they know it's going to be hard to run up the middle against South Carolina State, maybe hit them on the corner.
And Rutherford's one of those running backs that can do that. Because of his size, you can basically point, hey, I'm going to run the ball to the right side, and you got a power running back. Doesn't matter what the defense does, you'll still be able to get positive yardage. And Rutherford doing a good job of keeping his legs turning over there and showing that potential that he showed as a freshman coming back to him his junior year.
Yeah, he sure had a kind of a sophomore jinx as he got over 1,000 yards as a freshman here at Howard University. Here's Keon Coleman. Coleman with the first down, and Coleman is down inside the 45 to the 44. You know, he didn't play at all a year ago because he broke his leg against Hampton in 2003. So Coleman has had a pretty good year his first year back, 613 yards coming into the game.
Yeah, and he got 600 yards and he shares time. Not like Baker, who gets most of the carries. Coleman has to share between Jamar Smith and Antoine Rutherford. You see now Ronald Venters is doing a good job at the quarterback position for Howard and putting them in the proper run check. A lot of people think playing quarterback is just throwing the football. But, you know, as the running games have got more complicated, defenses have become better and more sophisticated. You need a quarterback with some leadership that can determine where you run the football and whether or not you're in a good running play or a bad running play.
And Coleman already in this contest, as we were talking about him, has 85 yards. Remember, he had a 59-yard run the last possession. Here's our referee. Let's see what's happening with the clock. Trying to get to the clock operator. It's our referee, Preston Harding. In the meantime, we look at Howard University, who started the season. They beat Winston-Salem 20-6. The defense allowed only 58 total yards in that contest. Then they lost to Hampton 22-12. They led in that game 12-0. Rutherford with 116 yards. FAMU, they lost to them 33-20. They went into the game with the #1 defense in all the nation in 1AA, but gave up 3 touchdowns through the air and allowed Pompey, the big running back for the Rattlers of Florida A&M, to gain 116 yards. They beat Savannah State 39-21. Venters had a big game there. 3 touchdown passes against Savannah State. Then they beat Charleston Southern, and that was the game they thought was going to get them over the hump. They won that game on the road. They won it 27-22 after trailing 12-0. They were able to come back and win that contest. And they lost to Morgan State 7-0. That one hurt you more than anything, didn't it, Jay? And then they beat North Carolina A&T 16-0, and they lost to North State 26-7 a week ago down in Norfolk. There's a timeout on the field. We'll take one. We'll be back in a moment.
You owe it to yourself to work with the best.
Don't delay. Call 1-800-440-0534.
You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football between South Carolina State and Howard University. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action. Second down, facing the Howard University Bison. Second and about 3. At the 36-yard line of South Carolina State. Rutherford turns the corner, maybe a yard. That's it.
That's one of those examples I'm talking about where you can line up your defenders wherever you want to, but you got a big back that's running with power like Rutherford is. He's still going to get positive yardage. It took 6 Bulldog defenders that had a chance to put their shoulder pads on him, and none of them brought him down until he was out of bounds, and he still managed to pick up a yard on the carry there. That's that big power running game we're talking about, what Rutherford brings to the table.
Howard University came into the contest sixth leading rushing team in the conference. So they were not even at the top of the running game. But here's Coleman, bounces outside for the first down. He slid and slithered through the hole on that one. You know, and you look at Coleman, one of the things is, and you see the power that he has, he doesn't look strong, but he has power along with Rutherford.
Yeah, you know, these are guys that arm tackle is not going to get them down. They got real strong legs. Their legs are moving, turning over so quickly. You can't arm tackle. You really got to get a good solid shot in there and get your shoulders square and drive through them in order to bring them down. And both of these guys run with fresh legs all the time, and that's one of the trends you're starting to see in college football, using two running backs and fresh legs all the time.
That's the end of the first quarter here at Green Stadium in Washington, D.C. Howard University trailing 7-3, but they just picked up a first down, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Credible offer won't last, so call 1-800-259-6945 now.
Ray Petty on the sideline probably feels like Richard Petty right now. We're trying to drive this Bison offense and get them down the field. He's calling some offensive plays today, isn't he?
Yeah, decided he was going to take things upon himself and just see what he can do and help jumpstart this Bison offense.
First down and 10, the ball at the 32-yard line. Rutherford, good defensive play. Coming up is Matthew Brickman, the senior from Swansea, South Carolina. He had been hampered throughout his career with ankle injuries and such, but he came up with a big loss that time. And look at our first quarter stats for the two teams.
And I think the most important stat you see there is the Howard penalties. They got 2 for 12, one of them when they were down in the red zone driving after a long 59-yard run. So they could have equally have 7 points in this ball game, but because of that penalty. So South Carolina State struggled a little bit to run the ball, as we thought, but they had the one big play, and that's why we stand at 7-3 at the end of one quarter.
Loss of 4, second and 14. This is the 9th play of the drive that started at the Howard 24. Play action. Venters wants to put it in the air once again. Now he's going to take off and run and gets it down to the 30-yard line. A gain of about 7 on the play, and it'll bring up a third down. Finally brought down by Pierre Johnson defensively.
That's what you have to do if you're Ronald Venters. I mean, if you don't have the for sure throw, we call them one of those faux show throws where the guy is wide open, then take off running if you're not feeling too comfortable with your accuracy in this type of game. So I like his decision, didn't see anything he liked, made up his mind quickly to take off and run to get positive yardage.
One of the things we're seeing is Jesse Hayes playing both ways. On short yardage on offense, he normally will go in as an offensive lineman, and then on defense, he's a la the refrigerator, right?
Yeah,
and then he plays defense. If tackle, he starts. Venters again wants to go to the air. Lets it go. Wide open! Dropped by Jerron Williams, and it shouldn't have been dropped because it was short. Jerron had to come back for it. The defender almost knocked it down.
Yeah, but that's one of those catches he's got to come up with. Ball hit him right there in the breadbasket. You got a quarterback. You know it's not going to be that accurate. You see Venters, he's giving it all he's got. He can't feel it. You see the ball tailing. The spiral's gone. Ball's a little low, but you got to come away with that catch right there. That's why you play wide receiver and not defensive back there. The Howard Bison, they've been snake bitten all year long with plays like that, and that's when you talk about South Carolina State, their coordinator, say, hey, this offense is pretty good. They just make a drop every now and then at the most inopportune times.
Fourth down for the Howard Bison. They're going for it. 2 of 13 in that department this year, only 15%. It's 4th and 8. Venters throws. Jerron Williams has the first down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. So he made up for it, what could have been possibly a touchdown with that catch and run for a first down.
Whoever doing the play call does a great job setting up a wide receiver screen here, getting the lineman out front, allowing Williams an opportunity to make up for the pass drop there. He squared his shoulders, and as soon as he caught that ball, he started running towards the end zone. That was a good-looking pass play there with a quarterback that's not that accurate.
Good for 12 yards, first completion for Venters today. It is 1st and 10 inside the 20 at the 19. Rutherford, and he has the ball, but he's not going to get far. Eric Turner coming in to make the stop defensively.
You know, Turner's one of those guys, he's a backup defensive lineman for South Carolina State, but he's not really a backup. You see Turner here beat his man off the block down and attack the ball carrier in the backfield. When you talk about South Carolina State, they like to rotate that defensive lineman. They'll play as many as 10 defensive linemen in the game, and Turner's call was up there, and that was the backup unit for South Carolina State getting beyond the line of scrimmage for the Howard University Bison.
2nd and 14 after the defensive play by Eric Turner. Rutherford, nowhere to run that time. It looked like it was number 96. I believe it was that came in there. That was Dixon. Joseph Dixon, who came up to make the stop. Senior from Orangeburg, Wilkerson High in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
OW they call Wilkerson, the factory. OW down there, traditional state powerhouse in high school football down there, and Coach Pugh used to coach there once upon a time.
Certainly
so
did.
It's a natural pipeline for those kids to go to South Carolina State.
And in the red zone, Howard University 1 for 1, and that is the field goal. This is a 3rd down. 3rd and 15. And now we've got a whistle. Delay of game against the Bison. Or false start, which is it?
I think they're going to call him for the false start. There's some movement on the line.
The dead ball penalty is false start against the Bison.
So it moves it further back rather than 3rd and 15. It's going to be 3rd and 20. And in 3rd down conversions today, Howard University is 1 of 4.
You know, when you got 3rd and long, you don't expect to convert. And that's why when we looked at the first quarter stats, I said the most important stat there was the penalties. Now you see another penalty that could potentially take the Bison out of field goal range if they don't come up with a big play here.
Byron Williams and Larry Duncan, along with Jamar Smith, all out there to get the pass. Very dangerous pass. They have it complete to Theron Lewis, but it was not much room for him as Corley came up along with David Broom to make the stop defensively, so to bring up a 4th down. So this is a second 4th down situation of this drive, and this is the 14th play of this drive. It started at their own 24. They've used up a lot of time off the clock, almost 4 minutes, Jay, but they haven't been very productive once they got into the red zone, the key areas in which you need to score, where they're ranked last in the conference in that department. They've scored 16 touchdowns. They're only hitting 60% in the red zone. 17 of 28, make it 18 of 29 when you count the field goal in this contest. From the shotgun. Incomplete. Jerron Williams, the intended receiver.
You know, and actually, he was open there, but looked like he twisted his ankle there and he couldn't get out of his break. You know, I thought Venters did a good job of throwing the ball to the soft spot of the defensive coverage there, but Williams' ankle might have got caught on this turf here. You know, you look at from home, you can't tell, but Howard's got one of those field turf fields out there. See Venters, he's throwing to a spot. So he's got the post corner route here, throwing to the corner, throwing to a spot. And, you know, you'll see him not able to accelerate and kind of coming up there gimpy a little bit. Got caught on this field turf here.
From their own 27, 3rd offensive possession for the Bulldogs. Howard University stalled after driving from their own 24 to the South Carolina State 27, and they turn it over for the 2nd time today on downs. Deshaun Baker out to the 32-yard line. Gain of about 4.
Deshaun Baker on a carry.
And that's what you like to see. I mean, right when Baker looked like he was going to explode and have a big game, who was there to stop him? Bethea. I mean, he just doesn't miss. And, you know, Bethea only weighs about 200 pounds. So he's taking on a bigger running back, but you see no fear. That's what you get in those great free safeties. They come up and they tackle, and they don't care about the size of the target as long as the target just goes down.
2nd leading rusher in the conference, Deshaun Baker. They play action to him, and here's the pass to Burgess. And Burgess has the 1st down in front of his own bench before finally being rid out of bounds at about the 42. Let's go to the studio.
Well, Charlie, out west, the Golden Bears of Cal on the board following a block punt. Marshawn Lynch averages about 7 yards a pop. Only needs 1 here to score. That game is tied at 7-7 now in South Bend, Indiana. Well, it's Notre Dame, 21-10, Tennessee scoring. But they're down by 11, but the Volunteers are driving at this juncture. Charlie?
Well, the Fighting Irish holding on. Here's a reverse to Burgess. Trying to go to the right side of the offense, and it doesn't get him anywhere.
Saw that Notre Dame score there, the Fighting Irish. That's been one of the stories of the college football season thus far. Congratulations to my old coach from the New England Patriots, Charlie Weiss, doing a great job and got that big contract. I wonder if I can get him to send me $20 or something like that, Charlie.
It's 2 plates when he's on the left.
There's the defense. Keith Gilmore is the defensive coordinator for Howard University. Robbie Wells for South Carolina State. And this one gets out to about the 46-yard line on this carry by Baker. Finally brought down there by Michael Bowie.
As I'm watching this game, progress, it's kind of like college football, the MEAC, it's spread out, the spread offense out the shotgun, and South Carolina State used to be one of those power running game teams. Now they're spread out, but this seems like an old-fashioned MEAC battle. Great defenses, bodies flying all over the place, and it's fun to watch.
McCoy looking. Wide open, Burgess can't get to it. And now a little disgust on the part of Antoine Bethea. He's yelling at one of his defensive backs, Jamar Butler, the strong safety, because somebody blew coverage and left Burgess wide open.
Yeah, you see South Carolina State come with a hard rollout pass there, and you wonder, hey, you got to stay back. Don't come upfield, and you let somebody get behind you. But they are playing free safety. He's over there to play makeup, and it's somebody he's not responsible for covering. So that's what the free safety is supposed to do, is be the last line of defense. But with the half rollout action, kind of had the Bison defenders confused. Burgess was wide open there. They just couldn't convert.
Larry Duncan is deep to receive the punt of Kobe Brandenburg, a senior from Decatur, Georgia. This team is ranked 12th in the nation, and maybe Kobe's gonna kick it. Get away from it, I guess, is the best thing Howard can do, and it'll die inside the 15-yard line. But interesting, they're ranked 12th in the nation. There's a flag on the field. This South Carolina State team is 12th in the nation in punt return defense. They don't let you get back much on them, and you can see why on that play. Let's see what the penalty flag is. Now they wave it off. There is no penalty. 8 minutes is the time remaining, and we're in the second quarter. We have a 7-3 ball game, and it's South Carolina State. They'll have the ball on defense when we come back. On the campus of Howard University, Charlie Neal along with my partner Jay Walker for this MEAC matchup. Howard University with the ball, first down and 10, trailing 7-3 at their own 12, 8 minutes left in the first half. Ronald Venters, who missed the last 2 games because of an elbow injury and still has problems with feeling in his pinky and ring finger, still running the offense for Coach Ray Petty. Ray Petty was a Howard assistant before becoming the head coach here. 92 to 99. He also was an assistant at Southern University down in Baton Rouge and Norfolk State University. Here you look at Ray Petty, graduate of Elon College down in North Carolina. It is second down, 10. Now we have a timeout. And let's see if this is against Howard. If so, they will have spent their second timeout in the first half. It is. Let's go to the studio. Mike, for an update.
Well, Charlie, Wisconsin just threw an INT in the end zone, but before that happened, Tony Hunt scores.
Watch that offensive line for Penn State. A big fullback, Tony Hunt, tucks it in from about 8 yards for a touchdown.
Averages about 6.2 yards a carry, and Penn State on top by a couple of touchdowns. Charlie?
Good game there. Penn State and Wisconsin. Wisconsin ranked 14th coming in. Penn State 10. Penn State on top right now. Papa Joe.
Yeah, I think we said earlier that Notre Dame is probably the best story in college football. Maybe an asterisk. That story about Penn State being able to turn it around, using those young freshmen as a receiver, Derek Williams from the DC area, and Justin King, and those guys really put a spark in Penn State early in the year. And it seems like that's going to carry them on through to the postseason. Can you call it postseason in college football, bowl game? Can you call it postseason?
Well, a lot of people want a postseason.
It's after the season. I'm a 1AA guy. We've got the playoffs there, so we call it the postseason.
Second down for Howard University. Second down and 10. Jamar Smith, the running back. Jamar Smith doesn't get it. Play action, pass incomplete. Duncan was the closest Bison to it, or possibly Rodney Slappy, number 14.
Look, here's what I got to figure out. You got a quarterback that's struggling to hold on to the football. If you're going to call some pass plays, I know you want to run the ball and set up with the play-action game, but why not call shorter pass plays, 10-yard curl patterns, 5-yard slant routes? Every throw they've called has been either a go route or a corner. All these are difficult throws for quarterbacks to make, especially when you're throwing with 3 fingers.
1 of 5 on third down conversions. That is what Howard has done today so far. And remember, Darrell Turner, a freshman out of Philadelphia, has played. And here's maybe the sack, the first one of the day, the 19th of the year against Howard University. Coming up with it is Shavar Powell with the first sack for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and just a good job of beating the guard there, coming on the stunt from the linebacker position there. And you see, not only was it one Bulldog there, but there were 2 Bulldog defenders there to bring down Venners on that one there, and nowhere to go there. And that's what you got to do. You figured you see more blitzing with a quarterback that can't really throw the ball. He's not a mobile guy, so plays like that will probably be a reoccurrence further along in the football game.
South Carolina State should get the ball in great field position. Dominique Henry is deep to receive the punt of Noam Dror, his first punt of the day. And he gets it off. Fair catch, call for, dropped, and finally recovered by, let's see, Howard may get a break here.
Get at the bottom of that pile and pull.
They do. They get a break. Call it a turnover. Rondo Jameson come up with it. Dominique Henry tried to catch it over his head, and Howard University gets a break.
Yeah, you know, Dror's he's a left-footed kicker, so you got to practice that. There are not too many guys who can practice getting the ball from a lefty. And that ball gets there, and he touches it once, and then once you get to the bottom of that pile, you put that fingertip on it, and then once the ball hits that turf there, you don't know which way it's going to go. Football's not shaped like a circle. Get on the bottom of that pile and pull. It was a turnover and a great opportunity for Howard University.
So first down and 10. Like I said, they were getting ready to give South Carolina State a short field, but instead they come up with a great special teams play, something that has plagued Howard all season long, and they get the ball in great position at the South Carolina State 43-yard line, first down and 10. Let's see if they can capitalize. 6:20, the time remaining in the first half. Slappy in the slot. In motion is Jamar Smith. Jamar Smith turns the corner on the end around and gets the first down to the 32-yard line.
You continue to see Howard University attack the perimeter of the South Carolina State Bulldog defense, not running straight ahead, but trying to get seals wherever they can, wherever they can get an angle. And you'll see Smith here get the ball, take 2 steps, and outrun his defender because it was that wide open there. Little misdirection there, and it was a good job and a great play call for the Bison.
And a first down and 10. At the 32 of South Carolina State. Venners calling the signals. Smith and Rutherford are the backs in the backfield. Rutherford trying to go student body left. Behind Alex Godfrey, the left guard, but not much doing there is Matthew Brickman, who's made a couple of stops defensively for the Bulldogs today. Comes up to make the stop. Buddy Pugh in his 4th year. First year, his team went 7-5. He went 8-4 his second year. Last year, they tied for the conference championship at 9-2 with Hampton University, but lost to Hampton in head-to-head competition. So Hampton represented the conference in the 1AA playoffs, something they're trying to reverse this season.
Yeah, you know, and Hampton beat them again this year, and they're in the driver's seat to go to the 1AA playoffs. But Coach Pugh and the Bulldogs, they're playing for the rest of the season. I really do believe if they win the rest of their games on the schedule, they should get into the 1AA playoffs.
Venners throws, has it complete to Slappy. And Slappy back inside, finally brought down by Pierre Johnson.
Those are the passes Vendors can do. You know, the play action fake, he can barely hold on to the ball, but it's just a 5-yard route. He can throw right in between the 1 and the 4 on that one there. So I think what Howard has to do is utilize the short passing game. The only problem is a lot of teams that run the ball a lot just have deep play action passes. Vendors is normally a 48% passer on the season, so they got to shorten down the passing game for him to have success today.
3rd and 3 after a gain of 7.
North Carolina Central 26, Bowie State 23.
3rd down. Jamar Smith. Maybe a yard or 2 on the play. Terrence Bennett on the stop defensively. Just got word in the CIAA championship game that North Carolina Central held on to beat Bowie State 26-23.
Wow, that's the way you want a championship game to go. You know, 3-point margin of victory, and Bowie State was leading most of that contest.
It is 4th down. The 4th time today Howard has been in a 4th down situation. They are 1 of 3. Coleman trying to get to the 1st down mark. It's going to be close.
It'll be very close. They brought in your boy, Big Jesse Haynes, in there to play offensive line there for Howard. They didn't run behind him. And I'm one of those guys, I'm a fan. If you're going to bring a 400-pound defensive tackle in to play offense, you might want to run behind him. And they went the opposite way there, and it's going to be close. And they're at the fate of the officials to see where the spot was, whether or not they can keep this drive alive.
And the officials are going to have to measure this one. South Carolina State feels defensively they've held Howard University confident offensively that they made it. Jesse Hayes, as you said, big number 96 is out there. Here's Buddy Pugh.
We talk about the playoffs for South Carolina State. I mean, one of the reasons, if you talk about anytime you win 18 games in 2 years, I think you got a chance. And
they didn't make it.
Their chances are looking better for making it to the playoffs with a stop like that on 4th down.
As you said, they only take 16 teams to the 1AA playoffs, and you know, Howard University gets an automatic bid, unlike some other conferences, especially the Southwestern Athletic Conference, because they play when the 1AA playoffs are going on, with Grambling playing Southern and the Bayou Classic, and then you have Alabama State and Tuskegee in the Turkey Day Classic. Then they have the SWAC Championship in December. So that's why they don't get an automatic bid. 7-3 our score. 4:06 left in the half.
WrestleMania, the complete anthology. Call 1-800-WWE-SHOP and order yours now.
The Bulldog has made its way north to Washington, D.C. They brought their mascot along with them. South Carolina State. Only 7 minutes of possession time, and here they flip it back. Trying to go around the right side, and it's Chartrick Darby on the carry. I should say, not Chartrick Darby, that's a relative of his, but Rodriguez Darby. Chartrick playing in the NFL right now. But you talk about time of possession. South Carolina State has only had the ball 7 minutes. Howard 18 minutes, but they just have gotten into the red zone and just haven't been able to capitalize.
And that's a flip-flop because South Carolina State leads conference in time of possession in the game with over 31 minutes per game, but Howard's kind of trying to beat them with their own medicine.
Under 4 minutes to go. It is 2nd down. Here's Baker. And he is brought down on the far sideline by Jeffrey Pope.
When we talk about South Carolina State and the great job they've been able to do, they rushed for 234 yards. We knew that would be a challenge today against one of the best defenses in the country. And the total offense, 373 yards per game. So obviously you know that Howard's game plan was going to be, let's keep them on the sideline as long as we can. And so far in the first half, they've done a great job.
30 touchdowns for South Carolina State this year, and 22 of them have come in the red zone. So that means the majority of the times when they get there, they're going to score, but getting there is the thing that's hurt them today.
Yeah, and what's hurt them is, you know, with those 22 touchdowns, their field goal kicker's only 6 of 11 on the season. So had he not missed those 5, you'd be looking at a better number than that.
Cleveland McCoy decides he's going to run and is going to tuck it down. Maybe has the first down. It's going to be very close. That was a 2nd down and call it 3 play.
I really like Cleveland McCoy. I mean, he plays within himself. You know, if it's not there, he's going to run. He's got a great base. We were talking about that in the pregame. Strong legs, and he's a strong runner, and you have to be able to run the ball effectively to be the quarterback in a Buddy Pugh type system, and he just makes good decisions and gives his team an opportunity to win every week he's on the football field. When you got an offensive line that's as good as this offensive line for South Carolina State, everybody has to play within the system.
He's had 2 games this year in which he didn't even throw for 100 yards passing. He was held to 64 against Norfolk State. Hampton held him to 52, but when you have a good running game, it's not that important, is it?
Just hand it off. Make sure you hand it off to the right guy.
First down and 10. McCoy on the option to the right side. Not much running room there. Let's go to the studio and see what's coming up at halftime. Mike?
Well, Charlie, coming up on the U, presented by Allstate. Penn State, Wisconsin battling for the Big Ten lead. Right now, the Lions making it look easy. Tennessee's won 2 straight in South Bend. That very well could change this afternoon. And if you like fantastic finishes, we have one from Northwestern. The Cats become bowl eligible with a great comeback. Charlie?
All right. Thank you, Mike Gleason. Charlie Neal and Jay Walker here in Washington, D.C. in what has been a defensive battle so far. 2:15 remaining in the first half. On the option, they keep the ball with the quarterback McCoy carrying, trying to get to the 40-yard line, and he has to actually get to about the 43 to pick up the first down.
You know, that's one of those plays now that you're starting to see more and more in college football, that little spread option there. Alex Smith got a great run out of it out there in Utah, and it's just basically you got a quarterback that's reading the down lineman and determine whether or not you give it to the fullback, and very difficult to defend because you go in 3 different directions, and it throws off all the keys for the defense.
It is 3rd down. 3rd and 3. Wants to put it in the air. Baker. And he makes the catch. Out of the backfield for a first down all the way down inside the 40-yard line to the 38. Deshaun Baker with his first reception of the day.
We talk about all this misdirection. One, you got to account for him. But while you were worrying about the handoff, Deshaun Baker came all the way out the backfield and ran a little wheel route and did a good job of getting 1 foot down to make sure he was in bounds. And I'm impressed with Baker. He had to go up and get this ball there, got 1 leg down, and made the completion for a big play for the Bulldogs.
First down and 10. Going to the air once again. This one is short hops. That one to Baker was good for 23 yards. Deshaun Baker, he's only caught 3 passes before that one coming into the game. So he doesn't catch a lot of passes, and that allows the defense to kind of relax on him.
Yeah, no, that's not fair. You got a guy with only 3 catches on the year catching 20-yard bombs on you downfield, but that's why teams have tendencies, and how South Carolina State did a good job of assuming that Baker would be unaccounted for in the passing game.
It is 2nd down, and all of a sudden South Carolina State, with time ticking down in the first half, wants to put the ball in the air. Cleveland McCoy threw only 2 interceptions in his first 5 games. He's thrown 1 in each of the last 3. This is a little screen pass off to the right side, and he has it complete to Kelly King, and a flag comes in late. Kelly King on the reception and Bethea on the stop defensively. But let's see what the penalty marker's all about.
He might have got him up a little bit high by the collar, and you see Bethea up there saying, I had him by the shoulder pad. I didn't have the face mask in there, and see if he won his argument.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
I thought he had him by the shirt. Let's take a look at Bethea and see what he's got there. He's got him from behind, and yeah, that's a bad call. He got him by the shoulder pads. He had 2 hands on the shoulder pads, and unfortunately, when you tackle guys high, that's just a referee's call, and he's got to make it at that moment there.
But you've got to also, as a referee, see it before you call it.
So you think you should definitely see the fan in the face mask and not assume
right
by the angles and
and that's what happens. It becomes an assumption flag as opposed to a factual flag.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
never heard that before, but it sounds good.
But it sounded good. It seemed factual. But it seemed factual, but in all honesty, it wasn't actual because he didn't grab him by the face mask there. And that could be big when you got a team that's trying to drive and you're trying to limit them to a field goal. Now the Bulldogs are basically, and we talk about how they put people away in the red zone. Now South Carolina State's going to see if they can put them away in the red zone.
First down and 10. The ball inside the 15-yard line at the 14 for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State going in. Play action. Here's McCoy. Gets away from One man, that was Marvin Wooten, but he didn't get away from Timothy Lockett. Lockett comes up to make the stop. No gain on the play. Second down. And now a timeout. South Carolina State wants to talk things over. A timeout on the field. 1:11 left in the first half. And we'll be back. Back here, there's a touchdown just scored by South Carolina State, but we have a penalty flag down, and we're going to get a procedure penalty against the Bulldogs or a holding penalty. Running the ball in was Fred Smith, I believe, number 49.
Holding, number 76 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
Darryl Pringle, the tackle right guard who became a starter midway through the season last year when Rod Rogers went down and developed as a full-time starter, guilty of the holding penalty.
A little misdirection there, and, you know, penalties are just stats normally. You look at the game stats, see who gets penalties. It's where they occur that really determine how penalized you are.
That's the first penalty against the Bulldogs today. And
that was a costly.
Yeah, it didn't come at a great time, did it? For Howard it did, but not for South Carolina State. 57 seconds to go and the clock ticking down under a minute. Deshaun Baker in the backfield along with his quarterback, Cleveland McCoy. McCoy under pressure. Turns around, throws. It's going to be out of the end zone. It goes incomplete. The chase was on. And putting the chase on, Byron Patrick. He also had some help there from Marvin Wooten.
Yeah, McCoy doing a good job of getting outside the pocket. And you see he's got some foot speed here because Patrick can't catch him from behind it. Just get rid of the football there, lift to have another play and try and help move the ball down the field. But those are little things don't show up in the stat sheet. Rather than taking the sack or throwing the interception, outrun the coverage, and it just shows up as an incompletion, but your team still retains possession of the ball.
The clock stopped on the incompletion, 42 seconds remaining, and now it's a 3rd down and 20 for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. And so far today, they have been pretty efficient in 3rd down conversions, 4 of 6.
You know, they're one of the best teams in the conference in doing that, so that comes as no surprise to us. But right now what's surprising us is they're having a little bit of difficulty putting the ball in the end zone in the red zone.
Well, ESPNU's full day of college football action continues tonight with a doubleheader. First catch a special Skycam version of a game featuring 2 of the best teams in the nation. It's the Hurricanes of Miami taking on the undefeated Hokies of Virginia Tech. And Marcus Vick down in Blacksburg. Then at 10:45 Eastern, 2 undefeated teams at the top of their respective divisions in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Well, at least Alabama State has actually now lost 1 conference game. They're playing Grambling State in what could be a prelude to the SWAC championship. That's tonight from Montgomery, Alabama. College football primetime on ESPNU. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
I won't leave my couch tonight. I'm a football guy, so that Skycam watching the whole game, I got to watch that. You know, I'm going to feel like I'm playing a video game and I'm controlling the sticks. And then when you talk about Alabama State, Grambling State, 2 of the best quarterbacks to come out of black college football in the past 10 years are going to be going head-to-head, and it's going to be a battle.
And that Skycam was in effect Thursday night with Louisville. And
that's sweet.
That was a good game.
Oh, that's sweet. I mean, I actually feel like I'm in the action there. You know, I yelled at my TV. I called an audible the other day. I thought I was in the game.
It is 3rd down for South Carolina State. This is the 11th play of a drive that started at their own 23. They've used up over 4 minutes off the clock. And it is 3rd and 20. McCoy calling the signals with Baker the lone setback. Burgess in the slot to the right side, along with Kelly King. In the middle, Baker has it. Doesn't have the first down. He's knocked down immediately. And coming up with the big hit was Marvin Wooten.
Good sound defense by the Howard Bison. And one of the problems when you have a spread offense like you do at South Carolina State is you don't have anything to throw the ball downfield. You got to settle for little dump-offs in obvious passing situations. And you see the throw underneath by Baker, and he did a good job holding on to that football because he got tackled hard from the back by Marvin Wooten.
And you talk about Baker, it only caught 3 passes coming into the game. He caught 2 on this drive so far. 2 receptions for Deshaun Baker, the running back. And now another timeout is being whistled by South Carolina State. This one coming with 2 seconds to go and they'll probably bring on their field goal kicker, and that is Stephen Grantham. His longest this year is 47. So if they kick the field goal, which I'm sure that's what Buddy Pugh will probably do in this fourth down situation since he run the clock down, it would be a 35-yard attempt. Making the 35-yard attempt for Stephen Grantham. He's a freshman. There he is. He's from Florence, South Carolina. He's 6 of 11 in field goals. He has not had any block, and he has hit the last 3 attempts. He hit a 25 against Coastal Carolina, a 29-yarder against Hampton, and his longest of the year came a week ago. It was a 47-yarder against Delaware State. He was 3 of 8 the first 3 ball games. Done a pretty good job lately.
Lately he has, but right now he's still about 50-50. So he might make it, he might not. And I guess when you got a kicker that's kicking in the 50s right around the mid, half times he makes it, half time he does. I think the most important thing is where the ball's spotted. You know, if he's one of those guys, obviously he probably doesn't kick well from either one of the hashes. He's got to have the ball close to the middle of the field. And right now that ball is almost dead smack in the middle of the field. So I think he's got a good chance of getting his average up if he completes this field goal try.
Kobe Brandyberg, the punter, will hold. Kevin Coklaw is the long snapper. And this is a 35-yarder to give the Bulldogs an added edge going into halftime. The kick is up long enough. And it is no good. He missed it. He missed the 35-yard field goal as the clock expires here at halftime from Green Stadium.
And visit ESPNTheWeekend.com today. Presented by Speedstick 24/7.
You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football between South Carolina State and Howard University. We're at halftime with South Carolina State leading Howard 7-3. Mondays, the U will go inside the polls at 6 Eastern. Join Mike Hall, Mike Gottfried, and Scouts Incorporated's Todd McShay as they analyze the newly released polls, detailed breakdowns, analysis of the week that was and the week to come in college football. The U inside the polls every Monday at 6 Eastern right here on ESPNU. We'll get you to the second half right after these messages.
Apply now. Call 1-800-641-8373.
7-3 is our halftime score. The Bulldogs of South Carolina State have traveled north to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and have taken advantage of a 4-point halftime lead here. Charlie Neal along with Jay Walker. And Jay, your impressions, first of all, of the first half?
Well, I think that we saw two teams that have good defenses. I think that's the overall theme that we've got on. I think that both teams got in the red zone with an opportunity to score touchdowns, but neither team was able to put it away in the red zone. They had to rely on the big play instead of the efficient drive down the field.
And you're talking about the big play. Howard University got a big play to lead to the first score of the ball game, and it was a 59-yard run by Keon Coleman.
Yeah, great kick-out block by the fullback there, and then Coleman here making Bulldog defenders miss, going all the way downfield. And this turned out to be a touchdown-saving tackle there by the Bulldog defender, but Howard was not able to capitalize with a touchdown. They had to settle for a field goal after a 59-yard run.
And then South Carolina State, on the other hand, got on the board the only touchdown of the ball game. And again, no team scoring in the red zone, but this was a 50-yard screen pass to Rodriguez Darby.
Yeah, and Darby's one of those guys, he can make it happen when he gets the ball. Just a little extended wide receiver screen to help the Bulldogs score their only touchdown. And so far, 7 points has been enough to have the lead in this football game, and we'll see how that continues in the second half.
And let's look at some of the statistics in the first half. You see, the time, it doesn't show there, but time of possession really went in favor of Howard University, even though they're down in the ball game.
Yeah, I think it does. And one of the things, when you talk about the penalties there, they're big. But in the passing yards, neither team's really kicking up much dust. But the fact of the matter is, at 7-3, it's still anybody's football game. And if you're Howard University, you're at home and you're the underdog, but you still have a chance to win in the second half. You got to be proud of that opportunity. And I think the defense for Howard has played phenomenal, and South Carolina State as well. Anytime you can hold one of your opponents to just a field goal in one half of play, you got to be pleased with your defense.
Yeah, you got to be pleased with the defense. Both teams' defense have played very well in the first half of this particular ball game, and it was quite evident there if you looked at the stats from the first half. But the one thing that we've noticed is in the passing department between the two teams, they've only thrown the ball 15 times. They've completed 9 passes.
Yeah, I think you got two coaches that aren't going to ask their quarterback to do a lot. If you're South Carolina State and Buddy Pugh, that's by design. You come into the game only want to throw the ball 10 to 15 times. And if you're Howard University, you got a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of feeling in his arm, so you want to limit the number of throws that he gets. But I think Cleveland McCoy has played well within himself, and Ray Petty has done a good job of keeping his team in this game.
South Carolina State won the toss, decided to defer till the second half, so they'll get the ball to start the second half. But when you look at the second half, what do you think the respective coaches talked about at halftime in the locker room?
I think, for Howard's special teams, I mean, both teams had mishaps on special teams. Howard had a punt block early in the game, and then South Carolina State muffed the punt. So you got to tell somebody, hey, we don't want special teams to lose this ball game for us. And Howard's story all year long has been offense, we got to score some points. We can't keep doing this to our defense. For South Carolina State, you've played to the level of your competition. You're the 20th ranked team in 1AA football. You're supposed to be running away with this football game here. Come out, don't get jitter, and let's play Bulldog football.
And when you look at South Carolina State, they started the season with a win over Alabama State in the
huge win
in the SWAC MEAC Challenge down in Birmingham, Alabama, and they held Alabama State to just 24 yards rushing in that game. And anytime you can do that with the running backs that they have, especially with Keldrick Williams and those guys, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, that was a big win to start off the season. That lets you know the caliber of team that South Carolina State is. And they got a defense that is able to shut down folks. They did a good job of limiting Hampton to 14 points in the loss. The key is if the Howard Bison come up with a couple big plays, it'd be interesting to see how South Carolina plays playing catch-up.
Now it's going to be interesting to see here as we kick it off. South Carolina State will get the ball to start the second half. Darby fields it at about the 6-yard line, reverses his field. He's very dangerous.
He's got room.
Has a 93-yard return for a touchdown already to his credit this year. But this one he will get out to about the 27, 28-yard line, and that's where the Bulldogs will go to work, first down and 10.
Many coaches always tell you the most important possessions in the game are the opening possession and the opening possession of the second half. So let's see what they do in the second half. 6 of 9, very efficient by Cleveland McCoy. 6 of 9, 104 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. So let's see what they come up with in the second half and if they can get the running game going. They have not been able to get their running game on track so far.
Baker has carried the ball 7 times for 29 yards in the contest. He's the lone setback, and he has the ball right now for the Bulldogs. And he gets out across the 35, close to a first down at about the 37-yard line. Tim Lockett on the stop defensively for Howard University.
You remember we talked about in the open the fact that Baker's one of those backs because of his size. He gets better as the game goes on. 220 pounds, becomes a little bit tougher to bring down in the third and the fourth quarter.
Again, he's the lone setback back there. His quarterback working under center. Breland, the tight end, is in motion. And here again is Baker. And he gets the first down across the 40 to about the 44-yard line. Sean Baker stopped by Piner. Edward Piner out of Detroit from UAD Jesuit High, marketing major junior, wearing number 93. It is first down and 10, South Carolina State. We're just starting, first drive of the second half. Baker again. Starting to heat up, isn't he? Breaking tackles, 8-yard gain on that one.
What I like is the first contact happens behind the line of scrimmage. That's South Carolina State Bulldog football from old. They lined up, had a guy go in motion. You see him go in motion. They're going to run the ball right down your throat over on the right side. He gets hit right there behind the line of scrimmage, but keeps going. 1 yard, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more yards after the initial contact. Good, strong running by Deshaun Baker,
who has 53 yards now and 10 carries. That's a 5.3 average. Still hasn't gotten into the end zone, but more importantly, his team is leading right now. And here's Woods on the carry. And Woods is down inside the 45, has the first down at the 43-yard line. That is Jonathan Woods, a freshman from Copperas Cove, Texas. Finally stopped by Jesse Hayes. And we have a player shaking up on the play. A little slow getting up. Well, now they help Woods off, the man who carried the ball that time. Hopefully he's okay. He was the MEAC Rookie of the Week twice this year against Norfolk State and Florida A&M. 3 touchdowns against Florida A&M, 311 and 26 yards, and he's helped off the field.
With all those schools down there in Texas playing college football, you wonder how they let this one get away.
Anybody that gets out of Texas, you wonder how they let them get away.
Oh, that's a beautiful setup.
Little pass. Here's Darby. He's following his blockers, still on his feet, and is down inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal. 1st and goal for South Carolina State as Antoine Bethea finally came up on Rod Darby, who already has a 50-yard reception for a touchdown.
Take a look at number 70, the right tackle, Clyde Reed, get out here. Once you get big Clyde Reed getting out there on the DB doesn't have a chance. He got 6'6", 285 pounds, followed by a 4'3", 40-yard dash guy behind it. That's why I knew that play was set up nicely in the middle of the play there. Good execution by the Bulldogs.
34 yards on the catch and run by Rod Darby, 1st and goal. And here, going to the left side, is Deshaun Baker. And he's not going to get far because he's hit immediately by Tim Lockett. Lockett, the junior out of Greensboro's Northeast Guilford High, preseason 2nd-team all MEAC selection, number 52 there.
Yeah, he's part of that great linebacking core that they've got there. You know, Bethea gets a lot of the credit, but anytime you got a great defense, you got to have a great linebacker, especially a middle linebacker that can make plays, and Lockett is that guy. He gets a little bit overshadowed by Bethea, and that's because Bethea is the senior, and he's going on to the NFL, but Lockett's a guy that he and Bethea, they're an unstoppable force for the Bison defense.
Baker, lone setback back there. Not much running room that time. The defense stiffened again. Hardy, the linebacker, I believe that was, there on the stop defense.
Yeah, that's Rudy Hardy coming there from that right end position. You know, defensive coordinators love it when you get defensive linemen making tackles. When you're talking about a guy in Hardy, 6'1", 270 pounds with an explosive first step. He beat his guy off the snap of the ball, and he just made a great play in the backfield.
We'll be keeping an eye on a couple of other games that's very important to this MEAC conference race. As McCoy trying to get to the outside and is run out of bounds and loses yards, and running him out was Polk.
Say one thing about Howard University. I mean, a lot of teams get a lot of hype and publicity. This Howard Bison defense was highly ranked with all the hype. I mean, they're as good as advertised. I mean, they come out here and you get one play on them, you fool them once, but you don't fool them twice. This is the 2nd time today that South Carolina State's gotten the ball in the red zone, seeming like they're going to go in and score a touchdown, but yet they're going to have to settle for another field goal attempt.
So this one will be a 29-yard field goal attempt. A 42-yarder was missed earlier, or 35-yarder rather, was missed earlier. This will be from 29 yards out. And this one is good by Stephen Grantham. So it's a 10-3 ball game. And we'll take a timeout here from Green Stadium in Washington, D.C. The Bulldogs just increased their lead to 7. And this was the scene last night here on the campus of Howard University. Jay Walker, my broadcast partner here, being inducted into the Howard University Athletic Hall of Fame. One of 10 people that were inducted last night, along with Flea Harrell, his teammate from '93 championship team, Tim Watson in football, Richard McGee and Haywood Farley for football, Shaka Hislop for soccer, and Stephanie Adele Johnson for tennis, Vanessa Graham Lewis and Annette Lee for basketball, and Emmett Greer for swimming. And it was quite a festive evening, and congratulations to you, Jay.
Thank you, and you did a great job of emceeing that banquet. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. You helped recruit me to the D.C. area, and I was just more of a thankful moment for my parents there.
And here's a reverse that Howard University is trying a little trickery. Now we need a block, and bringing it up the field for the Bisons of Howard University is William Blandon. Finally run out of bounds, and we get a late flag as Stephen Grantham, the kicker, finally ran the return man out of bounds.
I think they're going to call Stephen Grantham for a personal foul. He went over there and knocked him hard on the sidelines there. So it seems like it was a personal foul. They hit him late, definitely on the sideline.
We have a dead ball, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Number 57 on the kicking team. That's 15 yards added to the end of the run. First down.
Yeah, you take a look. That's the kicker. Yeah, now the kicker was just holding on, but
Thomas Cobbs was the man who was flagged for
I can't be mad at Cobbs trying to help the kicker make the tackle. I mean, you know the kicker's not going to bring that guy down. But, you know, another one of those situations. Howard's got great field position. They've got a new quarterback in there. Maybe they're trying to spark something. I see their starting quarterback, Venters, over here on the sideline getting his ankle taped up. Now they got Daryl Turner coming in the game, who's a freshman. Maybe he can throw the ball a little bit more than Venters could in the first half.
He was the MEAC Rookie of the Week against A&T. That was your homecoming game here for Howard University. And he hands off to Keon Coleman, and Coleman is across midfield into Bulldog territory after a gain of about 3 yards. And speaking of former Howard quarterbacks, here's Jay Walker. He still holds the school record for passes completed, 223 in a season. Passing yards, 3,364 in a season.
Ooh, that spiral's tight.
Total offensive yards, 3,509 in a season.
Look at the wheels, Charlie. Look at the wheels. You always give me a hard time. Look at the wheels.
Yeah, but he was a lot lighter than
passes up and over. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, Scott.
That was against the Aggies of A&T on their homecoming and spoiling it. And he also has the school record for passes completed in a game, which is 38. Here's Coleman again, and Coleman is lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage on that run.
You know what I tell everybody, and you go into the Hall of Fame, I always say, hey, they remember you when you throw more touchdowns than interceptions.
And those are the people we talked about earlier that joined him last night. Hayward Corley, along with Richard McGee, played on the same team in football. Jay Skywalker, along with Gary Flea Harrell. Harrell was one of his receivers, and of course Tim Watson went on to an NFL career, as did Harrell, as did Richard McGee.
And each one of those people said you broadcast their games in some way or another.
I certainly did.
And they go back 30 years.
And I tried not to bring it up. Here's the pass. It's incomplete. Aaron Lewis, I believe, was the intended receiver.
You see Howard once again not taking advantage of great field position. And, you know, we talked a little bit off camera. That's what happens when you don't have a great offense, or even a good offense that's clicking on all cylinders. You know, good offense gets great field position. They walk away with something. Where they got the ball from, you got to figure 3 first downs and you got at least 3 points, but they couldn't muster up one. And punting for Howard is dangerous. And they've gotten a lot of punts blocked this year, including one in this game where the punter had to run around and throw the ball away, so it's no sure thing they will get this punt off.
Noam Drawer to punt it away. The deep man is Dominique Henry. And he gets it off. Henry calling for the fair catch. And it bounces, and the Howard cover man had no idea where the ball was. They were too busy watching the ball come, the return man. Let's go to the studio.
And Charlie, we head for the Horseshoe in Columbus. The Buckeyes strike again.
Yeah, Troy Smith is going to his favorite target, Santonio Holmes here. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and guess what? 2 this week.
So the Buckeyes now starting to put it in overdrive against Illinois 19-2, and Tennessee's come back to tie it. They scored and the 2-point conversion. Tennessee's won their last 2 in South Bend, and now they're deadlocked at 21 with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Charlie, let's head back to you.
All right, thank you, Mike Gleason.
Don't cash that check yet, Charlie Weiss. You're coming back time. Whoa.
From their own 20, South Carolina State has not given up a touchdown in 9 quarters. In fact, they did not allow Delaware State to score a touchdown a week ago when they won that particular game by a score of 24-3. Keeping it on the ground with Deshaun Baker going off the right side. Very tough run. And Baker struggles all the way up to about the 27-yard line. A gain of 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
You can tell he's starting to find his groove. On that last possession, he started finding the rhythm. And the defenders just start bouncing up off him because he lowers that shoulder a little bit more and he gets motivated. And I think right now Baker's trying to take over this football game.
He had 1,000 yards rushing a year ago, one of 5 1,000-yard rushers in the MEAC, along with Jason Jackson from Morgan, Coleman from Hampton. And here he is again.
Let's run it.
And he's getting the first down. And we talk about some of the company that he was in. You had Colbert, Roland Colbert from Howard University, had over 1,000 yards. Of course, Ardell Daniels from Hampton with 1,098. Tuesday night, the college basketball season tips off right here on the U with a doubleheader from the 2K Sports Coaches versus Cancer Classic versus 6 Cornell. The Big Red take on St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and at 8, Bethune-Cookman faces Jerry McNamara and the Orange of Syracuse. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. The Howard defense stiffened on that one.
You know, segueing into that basketball, this Howard defense kind of reminds me of that Jim Boeheim 2-3 zone. You know, you get a couple hoops on them, but you can't go up and down the court on them all day long. Going from the gridiron to the pretty boys, I like to say, Charlie, the basketball player. That's your sport, isn't it?
Hell yeah. Baker a little bit shaken up on the play. He's going to go off. We've had a couple of people banged up. Jerron Williams from Howard University. Looks like he's out with a hamstring.
And with Baker going out, and Woods already went out earlier, they're going to go to JoJo McFadden, so South Carolina State starting to get a little thin at the running back position.
Sophomore from Winsboro, South Carolina, scored 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games, number 22. He's the lone back in there right now. Play action, and the quarterback, McCoy, is going to keep it. Trying to get to the first down marker. He will be very short. He gets up to about the 38-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down.
Well, this is the crucial 3rd down right here. I think the Bulldogs really need to convert because you got the band starting to get into it. The Howard defense starting to feel their way. And if the offense can come up with a spark at all, this crowd is waiting to start cheering for these Bison.
4 of 8, 50% tonight for South Carolina State in 3rd down conversions. And we get a whistle. Now a timeout is being called by Howard University. 7:18 the time remaining. And we're in the 3rd quarter here in Washington, D.C. A 10-3 ball game. South Carolina State on top.
What do Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Steve McNair, and John Stallworth have in common? They are some of the NFL's biggest stars, and they emerged from the best-kept secret in college football. Historically black colleges and universities. ESPNU is the leader in HBCU football. Every week, experience the competition, the marching bands, and the excitement that is HBCU football. Watch Morgan State take on South Carolina State, Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPNU.
ESPN, presented by K Jewelers.
A great night here in the nation's capital and a beautiful shot of downtown Washington and the Washington Monument. And it's 10-3 here on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. 3rd down facing the Bulldogs of South Carolina State, 3rd and 6. McCoy lets it go, and immediately there to make sure he wasn't going to get anywhere was Jeffrey Pope after the reception made on the far sideline.
And that's how you play the cornerback position when you're playing cover 2. Nothing comes in your area without you putting a helmet on it. He recognized the play was coming his way, and watch him accelerate to the ball. Extended wide receiver screen. Pope takes a good angle, beats his defender, and makes the tackle.
Pope has 5 tackles in the ball game, and he had a big one there to what the 3rd down attempt by the Bulldogs of South Carolina State, and Kobe Brandyberg will punt it away. Only his 2nd punt of the night. The first one was good for 42. He did it in a similar style, running right. Here's Larry Duncan trying to field it. He finally does and is still on his feet. Larry Duncan trying to get to the outside, now comes upfield and is across the 20 to about the 21.
That is one of the weirdest punt formations I've seen. From alignment, he does a full sprint. Just when you think he's going to go out of bounds, he kicks the ball. So you can't blame Duncan. It's got to be hard to locate where the ball's coming from. And take a look at this. Full sprint to the right. He's trying to set it up. He's like, no, I'm going to run. Okay, and then how does he get that off without going out of bounds? And he's got to put a little draw on that. Yeah, it looks like he's playing rugby kind of. A little draw. It must be tough to locate if you're the return guy. Duncan does a good job of making the first guy miss and then turning something negative into a positive with a decent return.
It was a 52-yard punt, 7-yard return, ball at the 21. Howard with the 2nd possession of the 2nd half, trailing by 7 with Darrell Turner in at quarterback in place of Ronald Venters, who started the game. And here's Rutherford on the carry, and Rutherford for about 3 yards up to the 24.
Well, if you're the offensive line for Howard University, what you got to do right now is realize you got a freshman quarterback in there playing in what's going to be the biggest game of his young career so far. Take it upon yourself to make every run play count for some more. Get a sense of urgency and do your best job you can at protecting your quarterback.
You saw Deshaun Baker over on the sideline. He has had a pretty good game. Deshaun Baker with 67 yards. Keon Coleman has over 100 yards tonight for Howard University. And Coleman has the ball. He may have just lost that 102 and went back with on that one. Let's go to the studio and Mike Godfrey.
Well, Charlie, Alabama's struggling offensively, so is. You turn to your D, right?
You know, Big Rudy been stuffing the run all week and all game, but Big Rudy Griffin gets an INT for 6. He wants to have some fun, too.
Tide rolling now, 17-zip, Charlie.
All right, Mike. I meant Mike Gleason. I said Godfrey. He's all part of the family. They're all part of the family here. It is third down, 3rd and 10, or make it 3rd and about 8. Howard University, 1 of 8 in 3rd down conversions today. Turner in trouble, throws it away, incomplete. Is there a flag? No.
Flag on the play down there. Looks like they're going to get a
holding penalty. Well, that'll probably be refused because that was a 3rd down, 3rd and 8. So I'm sure it's going to be refused. The flag was for holding.
We had holding. 65 on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Tommy Burns from Fenton Northern in Michigan. And it'll bring up a 4th down punting situation.
So the big number 65, let's take a look, see what we get. He's going to come over there and try and help out right there. He got him. See, active D-line by Kenyon Brooks has made a couple big plays on that last possession there. Guard was looking for somebody to block, South's quarterback scrambled and got caught with his hands in the cookie jar.
Drawer, standing inside his own 10, will punt it away. And again, Dominique Henry is having problems with that left-footed spiral, isn't he?
That's a little tough. I mean, you really got to practice it. I remember when I was with the New England Patriots watching Bill Parcells and Dave Meggett work on that drill. Tough to reverse the jugs machine that way.
A 51-yard punt by Drawer, his best of the evening, and we'll be back.
Let's see, Charlie.
Oh, the Irish are finding a worthy opponent tonight in the Volunteers of Tennessee, huh?
I mean, everybody gets hyped up to take on the Golden Domes. I mean, I was Division I AA player, but I get hyped up for Notre Dame, too. Something about those helmets that bring out the best in everybody.
McCoy being chased in his own backfield, turns the corner, and finally runs out of bounds in front of his own bench. But Michael Brown put the pressure on him, the senior out of Archbishop McNamara High in Clinton, Maryland, who's ranked 13th in tackles for loss in a preseason second-team All-MEAC selection, and we have a penalty flag on the play.
You know, McCoy did a good job of showing his mobility there. Howard actually had him contained in the pocket, but he was faster than the defensive lineman, able to break contain and turn a negative play into positive yardage for the team. But let's see what the flag is all about.
We have an illegal block in the back. Number 3 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 1st down.
Chris Burgess, the wide receiver. There he is on the sideline. The junior, redshirt junior out of Airport High in Columbia, South Carolina. Pretty good track and field man, too, as a high jumper. But he was guilty of a block in the back, so that'll nullify the positive yards gained by Cleveland McCoy. You look at this Howard University and South Carolina State, you know, they both have 3 players, or they have between the two schools 5 players playing in the National Football League, and 2 of them are here tonight. Orlando Brown from the Baltimore Ravens is in attendance here.
Big Zeus.
From South Carolina State, and we saw Ron Bartell from the St. Louis Rams, defensive back who was playing on this field a year ago for Howard University. His rookie year with the Rams. He's in attendance. They have a bye week. That is the Rams. And here's the handoff. Straight ahead. Running game. Stifled pretty good there by Howard University. You look at Hall of Famers. And then, well, let's go back to the other players from these two schools who are playing. You have Chartrick Darby is playing with Seattle from South Carolina State. You also, for the Howard University Bison, Marcus Douglas from the 49ers, and Tracy White, who's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they've well represented in the NFL.
All outstanding players there. Ronald Bartell, Howard grad, highest draft pick in Howard history.
Second rounder.
Second round pick.
It is 2nd and 15. McCoy has plenty of room on the right side, but then somebody loses a helmet, and he comes back around to the near side, and there's another helmet off.
Never seen 2 helmets come off on one play there, but that's what happens when you got 2 teams just going at it.
Edward Piner was the man that came off with the tackle. And there's some of the players we were just talking about. South Carolina State, they also have Lewis Kelly. I believe he's on injured reserve with the New York Giants, or the practice squad.
Derek Watson, little return specialist they had there, came there. And Marcus Douglas out there, many years in Baltimore, then just went out to San Francisco as a free agent. Good players there. And Orlando Brown, interesting story, started off his career as a D lineman, went on to become offensive lineman extraordinaire in the NFL.
Under pressure, and the sack, the first real sack of the day by Howard University, and that sack is by Tim Lockett. So Lockett comes up with the big sack.
Well, anytime you get a middle linebacker making a sack, he must have beat the running back on the blitz there. And you see Deshaun Baker trying to carry out his play action fake a little bit too long. See, he gets the play fake. You got to block him. When you got a blitzing linebacker there, your job as a running back is to sell out the play fake, meaning don't even attempt to play fake. Block the blitzing linebacker. He didn't do that. That half a second there caused the sack for Howard University.
Second sack for Lockett for the season. Howard University deep to receive. The punt by Brandyburg. Let's see if he does his little rollout. No, he just let it go this time. And it takes a South Carolina State bounce and rolls all the way inside the 30 to about the 25-yard line. So a good punt by Colby Brandyburg. Let's go to the studio. Mike?
Well, Charlie, Cal has Marshawn Lynch, but Steve Israel, Oregon has a pretty good runner in themselves.
Yeah, Terrence Whitehead is really doing a great job running the ball for him this year. He adds to the Ducks score here, getting into the end zone.
Ducks by 10, 20-10, Charlie.
All right, Mike. Right now we have a 10-3 ball game here. It was a 57-yard punt by Brandyburg, and Howard University now getting the ball once again, third time in the second half. They scored first in this game on a field goal by Dror from 29 yards out to make it 3-0. And then 10 unanswered points by the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Here's Turner. The pass is complete on the near side to Slappy, who had to fall down to catch the ball, so he only gained about 2 or 3 yards on the play.
Toughest thing for a young quarterback to do is when he's rolling out to his right, throwing the ball to a moving target and hit him in stride. He threw the ball behind him. Slappy did a good job of just stopping and at least coming away with the catch. But if you're Turner, you got to get that ball out in front, because had he been able to throw the ball in front, Slappy had a lot of room to run.
Turner got the start, well, actually came in relief of Venters against Morgan State, then started against A&T and Norfolk State. He won the Norfolk A&T game. That was homecoming, and lost to Norfolk State a week ago. Here's a long pass down the sideline, and a jump and a tie, and let's see who has it.
Tie goes to the offense.
And it's going to go to the offensive player. And who came up with it?
Somebody said something wrong on the ref and just got a flag, too. Look, Buddy Pugh's over there. He's going to get to the bottom of it.
If it's a tie, it may be for Howard. Now they're going to say it's an interception. Now they're calling it an INT. Let's see if we can see it once again and see who was actually involved in the play.
That's a tough one there, just kind of a jump ball situation. And I think, he had it.
He did.
They got it right. They got it right. But
William Oliver came down with it.
Unsportsmanlike spiking the ball on number 21. 15-yard penalty. First down, South Carolina.
William Oliver there, when we talked to the coaching staff about him, they said he's an interesting guy. He's got a chance at playing in the NFL next year. He's got 4.3 40-yard dash speed, and out of high school, signed with the Marine Corps. Didn't sign a letter of intent. He signed with his country and was a Marine for a number of years, and they say he's just hard-nosed.
South Carolina State +7, first in the MEAC.
Add one to it.
And turnovers. They certainly were.
Yep, add one to it. They haven't turned the ball over today, and they just got one. So
well, the muff was kind of a turnover.
Is that a turnover?
Well, that was a turnover on that punt.
That's a fumble, huh?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a fumble. It was a muff. But they lost the ball because he touched it. Right, they lost the ball. First turnover today for Howard University. So South Carolina State, after the penalty, starts at their own 23. First and 10. And here's Deshaun Baker on the carry. First down and 10. Let's look back at some of the miscues from the first half of this contest. First of all, by Howard University.
Ball just slipping out the hands of Venner there. Then they're trying to get a punt off, and it's going to get blocked, so the punter just threw it away. And then this one here, ball just Should have been caught by the wide receiver, couldn't hold on, and South Carolina State with a muff that we talked about earlier, but Howard couldn't capitalize on that one, and that's why we're still stuck here at 7-3.
Deshaun Baker again on the carry, trying to get closer to that first down marker. He has to get to about the 34-yard line in order to pick up the first down, and he's right at about the 30-31, so it'll be 3rd down and 3.
You know, and as the third quarter starting to come to an end, you notice that the Howard defense was on the field a long time, and those holes started to become a lot wider for Baker to run through. So slowly but surely, I think South Carolina State is starting to gain control of the offensive line of scrimmage.
And Coach Ray Petty said one of his biggest disappointments this year is not being able to take advantage of scoring opportunities, which they've squandered a number of times so far this evening. That's the end of 3 here in Washington, D.C. 10-3 is our score. Back with the fourth quarter in a moment. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football between South Carolina State and Howard University. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action. This is a 3rd and 5. Play action. Room on the right side. Vinters. Touchdown. Howard University.
That's what you got to do right there. That's what you got to do. When somebody needs to make a play, you've got a wide receiver that's dropped the ball on you early in the game. Get outside the pocket, make it happen with your feet. And like the way he went over the top there, showing some toughness there. Ronald Venters for the touchdown.
Venters running. That's only his 2nd rushing touchdown this year, Jay.
Yep, play action, Pake, looking. Tuck that ball away there. Once you get there, go airborne. 5 yards out. He's got some hops, Charlie.
Yeah.
He took off from the 5 and got in. Normally you want to see him dive from the 3. He did it from the 5. Uh-oh.
And a play action. Let's see. They're trying to do something with it to get the 2-point conversion. Incomplete. I don't know if it was a bad snap or what happened.
High snap. Snap. They couldn't get it back down. And you know, you can't do that.
It's a 1-point ball game.
You can't do that.
Well, again, we look at the quarterback, Venters, who had been out. They taped his ankle. It must have been a good tape job.
News again. In Lincoln, Nebraska, the Huskers just signed a freight All-American with 4-2.
ESPN Radio. Get your radio on.
Let's look at the extra point attempt and what happened there, Jay.
Just got a high snap here after a great run by the quarterback. Ball's up too high. He couldn't manage to get it down. They've had trouble in special teams. And once that happened there, it's all over. We'll take a look, and it's questionable. The ball got through his gloves, and you got to fault the snapper that one. I mean, you got a long snapper. His one job is just to deliver the ball there. Talking about Joshua August there. If you're the long snapper, you got to deliver a strike every time. It's a thankless job when you do it right. But when you make a mistake, it's crucial. So instead of Howard being tied right now, they're trailing by 1.
August, a freshman out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, believe it or not. It's
out of Orangeburg?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we need to investigate that one.
Playing for Howard University. Here's the return for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. And coming back up the field with it for South Carolina State is William Oliver, defensive back. And he gets him in pretty good field position across the 45-yard line to about the 46. So South Carolina State, with a lot of time left, leading by 1, will have the ball 1st down and 10 at their own 46.
And if South Carolina State, you want to make sure you don't turn the ball over, eat up some of this clock, and just get on the bus with a victory if you can. Right now, I think both coaches are just struggling to get anything they can. They just want to hurry up and get this game over with. If you're Buddy Pugh, you'll take a 1-point victory up here in Washington, D.C.
That was a 26-yard return by Oliver. Now Cleveland McCoy working from the shotgun. 1st down and 10, Deshaun Baker. We talked about the fact that he has 75 yards in the game, and look at him now. He just added to that total. He just picked up another 12 before he stopped by Antoine Buffet. Don't forget, coming up right after our game here, you'll see Miami against Virginia Tech in the Skycam version. And then at 10:45 Eastern, we have a SWAC matchup between Alabama State and Grambling, which could be a prelude to the SWAC championship. College football prime time right here on ESPNU. Here's the pass to Darby. Darby breaks tackles. Darby still on his feet and finally is finally brought out of bounds at about the 22-yard line. How did he get away from that? The sideline was the defender's friend.
It's called having great balance there, and that's what Darby had there. You had two guys coming up trying to lay a devastating hit instead of making a form tackle. One guy spins him around, another guy pushes him to the outside, but all of a sudden Darby just got that old balance there. That's something that you can't teach. You either got it or you don't. In the case of Rodriguez Darby, he's got that great balance.
He even got away from Bethea, who had a pretty good shot at him.
Tracy Singleton.
McCoy, the pass this time to Kelly King, and King is knocked down immediately. Jamar Butler was there to make the stop.
You see the differences in the offensive play calling here. When you expect South Carolina State to get some momentum and pound the ball away, they come out and beat you with the short passing game. Howard on the other end, they want to pound it, and they don't have a short passing game to go along with this great running game that they have.
McCoy very efficient in the passing department, 9 of 12 tonight. Will make it 10 of 13, 98 yards and a touchdown. And Darby has caught 4 of those passes for 99 yards. Deshaun Baker, 20 carries, 87 yards. And here's a play action, and McCoy will keep it himself. And McCoy still going down the field, running straight up and down.
When you talk about the great running backs, I've never seen a defense yet that accounts for the quarterback in the running game. So everybody's looking here, who's going to get it? Is Baker going to get it? No. All of a sudden the quarterback's got it, but we didn't have anybody assigned to him. And McCoy does a good job of running upfield, protecting the football after the big pickup. See all this misdirection. Everybody sliding around, looking. He's got a pulling guard. Next thing you know, you're looking at the quarterback, and they slid Clyde Reed down there from the right tackle spot to be the lead blocker on the quarterback draw.
And Raymond Harrison was very elated at this pancake block he put on one of the defenders for Howard University. He carried him all the way back down the field, about 20 yards.
Hey, pancakes are special, baby.
Here's McCoy breaking one tackle. Touchdown, South Carolina State. From 11 yards out. Here's Cleveland McCoy with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year.
McCoy did a good job of making Timothy Lockett miss. Take a look. You'll see number 52. He's got the quarterback all the way. Poor angle, poor tackle. Next thing you know, Cleveland McCoy's in the pay dirt, celebrating down there with the band of the Marching 101 from South Carolina State, giving his team a bigger lead.
5 plays, 54 yards. They use 1:47 off the clock. And they regain the advantage by 7 right now, trying to make it 8 with Grantham's point after. The kick is up, and it is good. And right now it's a 17-9 ball game with 9:58 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Our quarterback for the day, Cleveland McCoy, with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. You're watching ESPNU's coverage of college football between South Carolina State and Howard University. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action. From their own 23, Venner's back in there. The ball is batted in the air, intended it for Jamar Smith, and it's incomplete. An incomplete pass.
And if you're Howard University right now, you're not a throw the ball type team, so don't feel the sense of urgency. Through it all, you're just a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from getting right back into this game. And you take a look at the rushing yards, and we knew that Howard was going to put up some numbers running the ball, but we did not think South Carolina State would be able to put up 133 yards rushing against this good Bison defense. But if you're Howard, you got to stick with your game plan. One long drive. Don't start throwing the ball now with a sense of urgency. Use what you've been doing so far in the game effectively and stick to your game plan right now when the game's on the line.
Howard only 51 yards in the passing department to 152 for South Carolina State. One of them was that 50-yard pass for a touchdown. And here's Venters going to the air, going upstairs, and it's incomplete, or is it? Incomplete. Duncan is the intended receiver in front of the South Carolina State bench. Covering down there was Kevin Corley, a senior from Columbia, South Carolina, Fairfield Central.
See, the reason why I'm not really for throwing the ball right now is the last thing you can afford to do is a 3-and-out right now. If you get in there and you don't get a first down with 3 incompletion, you're going to question yourself because you ran the ball so effectively, and then when the game was on the line, you started running the ball. The next time you touch it, you're down by a lot. So Ray Petty right now and his coaching staff need to come up with their best play to get this third down conversion. I think this is a crucial play in this ball game.
As you see, 2 of 10 in third down conversions for Howard University tonight. None bigger than the one right now. 3rd down and 10. Play action. Little screen and his whip. I mean, they read that immediately. And it was Cobbs who came up and made the stop defensively on the screen pass. There he is, number 57.
I mean, one thing, 3rd and 10, who you play action? And who's really going to think you're going to run the ball? And once you do that, you got to hope they lose the running back. In this case, Cobbs was not fooled at all. He kept his eyes on his target, the running back there, and did a good job of reading his keys, which led him right to the ball carrier on the screen attempt.
And that brings on the punter. Drawer. Henry. Watch out. He's dangerous. Let's go to the studio. Mike.
Well, Charlie, Chuck Amato, NC State, they could use a huge win. Well, Drew Weatherford just was picked, and Marcus Stone rolls to his right, makes it look too easy. Anthony Hill, 20-10 now, Wolfpack by 10 over the Noles in Tallahassee, Charlie.
Though North Carolina State not letting up on the Florida State Seminoles down there.
On the road, too. But one thing about playing the Noles in Tallahassee, it's not over till it's over.
Till the fat lady sings, right? And I think she's got the Listerine in her mouth right now. 8:51 the time remaining. Play action now. Fumble! Howard has a chance. Hayes picks it up. And Howard. And the quarterback is hurt, McCoy. He got hit from the blind side. He never saw the defender coming. He coughed up the ball. Howard has it. And let's hope McCoy is not hurt too bad.
Oh, man, he took a shot there, but I'm impressed with the big fella, Jesse Hayes, at the athleticism he showed and picking up that fumble recovery there. And you never like to see a quarterback down. You see the pump fake here, and it wasn't there. He went with the pump, waited downfield, waited from the blind side, got that old snapback type of hit right there. Good job by the strong safety coming in there from the outside. And Hayes picked that up in one swoosh there. I like that. But you see there looking, doesn't see it coming. Good job of lowering the helmet. Jamar Butler with the blind side. That's a defensive back's dream. Blitz it from the outside. Quarterback doesn't recognize you coming. You see that neck snap right there? Might catch a facial whiplash when you get hit that hard from behind. And the key is, can the Bison capitalize on it? But I'm really impressed with Hayes. We talked about Hayes before. Can he play at the next level? For a guy his size at 400 pounds, he's got to be the quickest guy I've seen for 10 yards. If he gets down to 360 pounds, he could be a Sam Adams type of guy because he's very active and he causes fits to the running game. Look at him. He's out there having fun. Offense, defense. He's just having a ball.
He's a happy young man. He's a very pleasant young man to talk to. I mean, he's a gentleman in every sense of the word. I mean, he's like a gentle giant. But don't get him upset on the football field, right? He'll show you how gentle he is. 1st down and 10, Howard. Can they take advantage of the break and we get a penalty? Or there is no penalty.
You got to be kidding me. They don't blow a whistle. Unless he timed that snap up that great. Something's got to be called. I mean, I think they were trying to say, was he going to get back or not? But just like that, that's a turnover. Timing up the snap count.
Boy, I'll tell you, you're talking about Brigman timing it up. He came probably right because nobody else was moving on the offensive line.
And I think
let's see it once again.
I think Vendors assumed that the whistle was going. Oh wow! What is that?
Oh, that was a situation where the center, Godfrey, snapped the ball, and then
he forgot the snap count.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, the center forgot the snap count. He called it on 2, and it was on 1, and he left it there. And Vendors was kind of shocked as well because normally you just grab that ball there. What camera angle we had there? That was a great angle right there to see that ball just sitting there. I mean, take a look here. You see, he says hut. And he's the only one moving. So you know it's on 2 because nobody else on the offensive line moves. And, you know, Vendors didn't get an opportunity to grab that ball. And it was a great job by the Bulldog defender. Just go ahead and finish out the play there.
So 2 turnovers by each team in this ball game. And now South Carolina State gets the ball back at their own 39-yard line, leading in this contest 17-9.
It's good to see we got Cleveland McCoy still in the ball game, so he was able to recover after that big hit.
And here's the pass play, and they have it complete. Coming up with the reception is Kelly.
And making the tackle, Bethea.
Well, there's the man who came up with, like you said, was timing the snap. Brigman, Matt Brigman from Swansea, South Carolina, happy on the sideline. Sports communications major. What's up, Mom? And we have another player shaking up for Howard University. This is Piner, I believe, number 93, who's coming off under his own power. Ed Piner, he's out of Detroit from U of D Jesuit High. Marketing major, junior.
Got a couple guys on this Howard team from Detroit, Michigan. The starting cornerback Jeffrey Pope was from Michigan, and last year's second-round pick Ron Bartell was from Detroit. So they got a little Detroit pipeline going on there here at Howard University.
Piner out of the game right now, but before that injury, 9 tackles, 6 solo. Big night for him.
And this front four from Howard, they can play. I mean, they've been active all game long.
It is second down, 2nd and 6. Coming around is Burgess on the end around. Burgess to midfield. Almost beheaded by Bethea.
I mean, the thing about Bethea, he's fun to watch. He's going to do his job, and he's going to deliver the boom. But if you're Howard, you got to be concerned about your free safety making so many tackles. Normally, when the free safety makes the tackles, that means that they've already gained a good, they've had a good successful play against you.
No question about that.
But there's nobody else I would want to be my last line of defense besides Antoine Bethea.
Howard University has players from their squad from 17 different states. We were talking about where these kids hail from. As far west as Nevada and California. Of course, the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia, and here is Deshaun Baker on the carry, and not much running room as Jamar Butler came up quickly to make the stop.
California kid. So they're from all over. Yeah. A lot of people wonder. I think the key for Howard, if they really want to get back to the winning ways that were established here, it starts with the local base. I mean, Prince George's County has become a hotbed for high school football. You know, Virginia Tech and Maryland are in the top 25 because they recruit this area. To have only 3 guys starting from the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area on offense and 2 on defense means that you're maybe spreading yourself too thin. You got to solidify the home front first and then expand outwards.
Second down. Here's Kelly on the little flanker screen, and we get a flag. It may be against Burgess
with a hold.
With a holding penalty, and that's what it is. You know, this South Carolina State has won more conference titles than any other team in the conference. They've won 11 MEAC titles, and last year they were the co-champs with Hampton University. In fact, it was their first MEAC title last year since 1994. And the last time they went to the 1AA playoffs was 1982, and they'd like to get back there this year, and they could. You know, if Hampton prevails, and of course, their only loss so far this year has been to the Pirates of Hampton University. And at last report, Hampton was struggling a little bit with Bethune-Cookman. That game was tied at 10 at halftime.
Number 3 on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
Hey, Charlie, you're my partner, but I'm going to tell you, that referee's voice is smoother than yours. and take a look here on this little out here, and, you know, Burgess going for him low there. Then when he couldn't get him, he just grabbed onto something there. So got 2 officials there that were there to see that. And you talk about South Carolina State. They do have the 2 losses, one in conference to Hampton and the other one to Coastal Carolina. Pretty even when they were at the Pendles. But Coastal, if they win out the rest of their games, their 2 losses will be against 2 teams that should finish ranked in the top 10. I think that's a pretty impressive resume considering you lost to Hampton by 4 and you lost to Coastal Carolina by 1 in the very last seconds of the football game.
It is 2nd and 21. McCoy under pressure. He will not get it away. He is brought down defensively by Hardy. Rudy Hardy comes up with the stop.
I mean, how many times it seems like with Howard, we're either saying it's one of the D linemen making a play or it's Bethea, but this defensive front just continues to chase down the quarterback. Nothing here right away, nowhere to go. Hardy slipping off his block, doing a good job of getting one of those free tackle for losses.
You were speaking of the rankings and how important it is for South Carolina State to continue to win the rest of its games. Hampton came into this week's contest as far as the USA Today 1AA polls ranked number 3 in the nation in 1AA. Coastal Carolina ranked number 8. So those are the 2 losses that South Carolina State has suffered. South Carolina State came into today's game ranked number 20. Alabama State was 21 until they lost to Alabama A&M a week ago, and they dropped. They were in the top 20, and then they dropped out to number 21. Don't forget, Tuesday night, the college basketball season tips off right here on ESPN. It's a doubleheader from the 2K Sports Coaches versus Cancer Classic. First at 6 Eastern, the Cornell Big Red take on St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Then at 8 Eastern, the MEAC School, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats take on Jerry McNamara and the Orangemen from Syracuse. It's the 2K Sports Coaches versus Cancer Classic. It's on ESPNU coming your way this Tuesday night. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Syracuse, number 16 in the nation. Not going to make it easy for the Wildcats, are they?
Not at all. I mean, McNamara can light it up. You know, he can shoot that three. That's the thing about college. Every team's got a three-point specialist. Wouldn't that be the best job to have? You're going to be a basketball player. Just come in and just shoot threes. You got the green light to shoot threes all day long.
Just the only thing is you got to make them.
You got to make them.
I can take the green light, but they got to go through.
Hey, you throw enough of them up there, sooner or later, some of them got to hit.
Let's hope so, huh? It is a 3rd down and 33. McCoy's going to take off and run. And he's going to be short by about 15 yards on the first down. So he got about 18 of the 15 or 33 needed by Jamison. Made the stop defensively to bring up a 4th down. So Howard again will get the chance. Duncan is back to receive the punt.
From the South Carolina State 47-yard line.
Also back there with him will be Lorenzo Perkins Johnson.
You like to think if you're Howard now, you've seen this little run punt enough. I think he's going to roll out to the left, so you just limit the spot he can run to.
Well, we saw him one time not even run out. He just let it go like he's going to do this time. He's in trouble this time. Boy, they almost blocked it that time, didn't they?
Sure did.
This one's going to go into the end zone and be brought out to the 20.
The problem when you almost block it, he's used to running and kicking the ball. So once he made one guy miss, it was like a pump fake in basketball. He just took 2 steps to the right and kicked it.
4:42 the time remaining. Howard University gets the ball. They're down by 8 points. It's been a pretty exciting 4th quarter.
You talk about Coleman. He's been exciting all night, and then Venner's getting the Bison in the end zone for the touchdown there. And then the high snap, which put them down by 1 point at some point in this game here. And then you talk about Cleveland McCoy calling his own number here with the quarterback draw. And then also coming back, taking the big hit with the fumble that was forced there, but Howard couldn't capitalize on that there with another turnover with that snap there. Center snapped the ball on the 1 count instead of the 2 count, bringing us to an action-packed 4th quarter here. With 4 minutes left to go, it's still anybody's ball game.
And they keep the ball on the ground this time. Jamar Smith, that's a 1st down and is out to across the 30 to the 32-yard line. A gain of 12 for Jamar Smith. Finally brought down by Kevin Corley, but not before 1st down.
Yeah, take a look here at this draw action. I like the dip move on the inside, then get outside, then try and put a shake on the safety here. And it was a good job by the safety of barely coming away with that tackle there. But nonetheless, he did come down with the tackle. You talk about running backs. Howard's got a bunch of them, don't they?
They certainly do. I mean, when you look at Keon Coleman, of course, he didn't play last year. He had the broken leg. He hadn't recovered from it. And Rutherford had kind of a sophomore jinx after gaining over 1,000 yards his freshman year. Then you've got Jamar Smith. And then, you know, we haven't seen much of Terry Perry tonight. Here's a young man who's a sophomore averaging 4.4 yards per carry out of Miami Northwestern High. So there's a bevy of great running backs, not only at this team, but in this conference. When you look at Hampton University and you look at this squad, and you look at the young man up at Morgan State University. Venters lets it go, and it's incomplete. They say it hit the ground. Nice attempt by Duncan to grab the ball, and Venters is being helped up as he was banged down pretty hard. The ball goes incomplete, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
And they were that close to having a big play. If he can just get this ball up and have another second, I believe Duncan had plenty of room to run with, and he goes down and skid off that turf they got down here.
The old baseball, turf. You know a little bit about that, having been a baseball player.
A little short hop action.
Yeah, short hop action. Get the glove under it, right?
Get the glove under.
2nd down and 10. Leonard's on the draw play. Rutherford trying to get to the 1st down marker. He'll be about 2 or 3 yards shy. He gets out to about the 41-yard line before Terrence Bennett made the stop. We're in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, for this MEAC matchup. South Carolina State against Howard. We're at Green Stadium on the campus of Howard University. Charlie Neal, along with my partner and recent inductee into the Howard University Hall of Fame, Jay Walker. What a night it was last night, Jay, huh?
Oh, man, you know, stuff like that. I just feel grateful to my parents. That's like an appreciation to them. I got up there, you know, by being a good athlete, you're going to get all the accolades all your life, but your parents hardly get a chance to get rewarded, and I just felt so special for my mom.
Well, she was in attendance as Jamar Smith is brought down in the backfield, and it was Tony White, who came in to make the stop defensively out of Seneca, South Carolina, redshirt freshman. Jay, you and I get a chance to see these Bulldogs again later on Thursday night. We'll be down in Orangeburg when they take on another MEAC opponent, the Bears of Morgan State. So that should be another exciting game. So, again, we talked about the fact that you have to control your own destiny, and here's what South Carolina State knew they had to do coming in. They had to win the rest of their games, and, you know, you can't ill afford to lose at this juncture in the season, especially when you're fighting for your life. Of course, Hampton University is unbeaten in conference play. They have 2 games left. They're playing Bethune today. They have 1 left against Florida A&M as far as conference play is concerned, as we look at Buddy Pugh. (17-9) our score. Howard faced with a 4th and 7 right now, with 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. And in 4th down conversions, the Bison 1 of 4 so far this evening. They've been here before. Let's see if they can convert and keep this drive alive. And we got movement. Quarterback move. Venters.
He forgot to snap.
Yeah, somebody did that time.
The little things like that, I think, you know, he called it on 2 and it was on 1.
5-yard penalty. So now, if you're Coach Petty, do you still try to go for it on 4th and 12, or do you take a chance on punting the ball away?
Well, I mean, you burned a couple timeouts earlier in the game that, you know, if you give the ball back, State gets the first down and wins it. I actually at this point think, you know, if it's over 10 yards, you got to get rid of it. You don't have any play drawn up to get you more than 10 yards, really. You got a couple hopes that you wish for, but 7 was a stretch. I think plus 10 yards is really, really pushing the envelope. I think you got to kick it.
And that's what he's going to do. I didn't know where you were going with that, Jay. You went on and on and on. I thought you were going to say, well, you know, we got to keep the ball.
You got to kick it. I was just trying to think back in my head of all the great coaches I played for between Billick and Parcells. I don't think any of them had a 4th and 15 play drawn up.
No, I don't think so. As Drawer is back to punt it away. Henry back to receive it. Both teams have been penalized 5 times this evening. Low snap. Drawer, the left-footed kicker, gets it off. Good hang time. Henry says get away from it, and it takes a Howard University bounce, goes inside the 20, inside the 15, and out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. So a pretty good punt, as the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia is the biggest, richest reference guide ever published on the history of college football. You can read about the profiles, records, and statistical leaders, along with fight song lyrics of all 119 Division I programs, the Ivy League schools, and the most prominent historically black colleges dating back to the 1869. Box scores for every major bowl game ever played. Vote breakdowns for every Heisman race. A complete list of every year's consensus All-American, and it's available now wherever books are sold. That was a 56-yard punt by Drawer. South Carolina State with the ball. And Deshaun Baker on the carry.
If you're Howard now, you got to watch that clock out the corner of your eye. You got 1 timeout remaining. Choose very wisely when you decide to burn it.
No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. South Carolina State flew here on a charter, and they'll fly right back after the game in order to get ready for the short week that they have to play Thursday night against Morgan State. As you look at the timeout situation, and here's Deshaun Baker.
Now you got to use that timeout. I think you use that timeout now, because if it's 3rd down, you don't give State the option of having the ability to pass for the timeout or be able to run for the timeout. You know, so that's why you got to use it now. Don't let them think on it too much. and make State determine whether or not they really want to go for the first down or they want to milk out some of this clock.
One of the offensive linemen looked like he's a little slow getting up for the Bulldogs. That's Daryl Pringle, sophomore out of Summerville, South Carolina, from Stratford High. I want to say hello to our good friend down in Orangeburg, Willie Jeffries, the former coach of not only the South Carolina State Bulldogs, but the Howard University Bison. And he recently had taken on the job of athletic director at Grambling State University and decided he was going to cut that deal a little short. He's back home watching right now.
Coach Jay, also the first African-American to ever be the head coach of a Division I program.
In fact, he coached the head coach, Anthony Jones, of Alabama A&M at Wichita State. And Anthony, of course, went on to play with the Washington Redskins. And remember that Super Bowl team which Doug Williams was the quarterback.
Look at Penn. I mean, that just looks like a football coach, doesn't it? When you think about football coaches, you got to have that kind of mean mug. See, I couldn't be a football coach. I don't have that mean mug. Petty's got that mean mug that you need to have. And Marching 101, they came in and did their thing at halftime, didn't they, Charlie?
They certainly did. I'll tell you. They did the Thriller.
Oh, man, that Michael Jackson had you up here doing Michael Jackson moves.
2 minutes and 10 seconds is the time remaining, and we were talking a little bit earlier as we look at the game summary. Baker with the 22 carries, 86 yards, and Coleman 129 yards on 14 carries, and South Carolina State with 282 total yards, Howard 226. Both teams have 2 turnovers in this contest. But the thing we were talking about was, with games remaining, how important it is for teams to do well. South Carolina State has to play Morgan and A&T after today as they run the ball, and they're not going to get to the first down marker, and that's going to bring up a punting situation as Burgess tried to go end around. Then you've got Delaware State. They're still in the hunt. They only have 2 losses this year. They play Norfolk State and Howard the remaining of their schedule. Bethune-Cookman is in a battle with Hampton today, and then they have to play Howard. And, of course, we'll close it out with Florida A&M. And Florida A&M with only 2 losses. I saw them the first game of the season, and what a difference this season has made for Reuben Carter, one of 2 new coaches in the conference this year, along with Pete Adrian at Norfolk State.
Yeah, FAMU is much improved, and Norfolk State's one of those teams that's getting better every week. And FAMU's on their way to a victory today over North Carolina A&T. Last time I checked, it was like 24-0 down there. So, you know, they're in there, and I think, you know, the job of the year is Delaware State with Al Levan. I mean, they have Delaware State in contention for second place. Buddy Pugh, we expected South Carolina State to be there. We expected Hampton to be one of the best teams in the country. Delaware State, nobody expected.
Now the story here is Howard University is down by 8. There's 1:20 left. The defense stiffened, and now South Carolina State is punting the ball from their own 20. Howard, barring any unforeseen circumstances, could get a pretty good punt return. I don't believe they have any timeouts remaining, and that's what's hurting Howard University. And here's what's at stake for South Carolina State. They've already lost 1 conference game, and that was to Hampton University. Hampton in a real rough battle right now with Bethune-Cookman. That game at last report was all tied at 10 at the end of 3 quarters. So South Carolina State has to win in order to keep pace with Hampton University. Should Hampton stumble today, that would give them a tie for the conference lead. And they would have to hope for some help down the road, because Hampton beat South Carolina State in head-to-head competition.
Head-to-head, you know, anytime you're at the mercy of the NCAA selection committee, you want to win convincingly. You know, 8-point win on the road, they'll give you credit for it. But if it's a tie, had to go to overtime, that may come back to haunt you.
They just got it away. Here's Larry Duncan trying to get to it, and he's going to let it bounce and gets away from it. So Howard University will get the ball with about 1:07 to go, 1:06 to go, and they will have to go 64 yards.
And 1:07 in college football is an eternity. I mean, that's like having 2 minutes in the NFL game. That's like having 2 minutes in a timeout. The main reason being because every time you get a first down, they stop the chain. So if you go out of bounds, you get an incomplete pass, or get a first down, they're going to stop the clock. So that's one of the things that gives you so much of an advantage on the offensive end of the ball. You can run easily 15 plays in a minute.
Even if Howard scores, the key is they have to go for the 2-point conversion in order to send this game into overtime. That's the possibility here. No timeouts left for Howard University, so everything has to be positive yards or out of bounds. When I say positive, meaning getting to the first down marker. Venters in trouble. Shuffles it off to Rutherford and it goes incomplete. It's probably best it did.
As good as the offensive line has played in the run game there, you saw South Carolina State bring in a 4-man rush. Howard had 7 people in the block, and they still managed to get to the quarterback and flush him out of the pocket. You got to shore up the offensive front. And the most important play in a 2-minute offensive drill is the first play. Get a completion to get everybody going.
Wide receivers, trips to the left, one to the right, one lone setback, and that is Tyson, the fullback, to block. Quick pass to the outside is Tyron Lewis on the reception. Still doesn't have the first down, but steps out of bounds and stops the clock with 56 seconds to go.
You know, and the problem by them getting that first play and not getting anything positive, they still haven't got that sense of urgency about them. They're still kind of just going through the motions. See, when you get that completion and everything's running, your juices and blood is pumping. Right now, they're still trying to get settled.
And there's the numbers on Ronald Venters tonight, 7 of 14, only 49 yards.
Well, it was a gutsy effort for him. I mean, he's playing with 3 fingers on his throwing hand. I'll give him credit for a gutsy effort, and he ran the touchdown, which was big.
And this one is complete for a first down, and out of bounds, Tyron Lewis. Again, the transfer from L.A. Harbor Community College came into the game with 10 receptions. He has 4 in this game.
And this ball kind of got away from Venters, but Lewis does a good job of snatching it out of the air and then moving forward and getting out of bounds.
6'3", senior, went to Taft High in Hawthorne, California. Gives his team a first down across midfield. 52 seconds remaining on the game clock. First down and 10, Slappy in motion. Venters lets it fly.
Oh, no.
Intercepted. It's over. Coming back with it.
He's got an
South Carolina State. Touchdown. South Carolina State. Terrence Bennett returns it. And that put the icing on the cake. It's about 60 yards on the return.
You know, and that's one of those risky calls there when you got a quarterback doesn't have his normal arm strength, trying to throw a wide side out route 15 yards down the field. It was a great job by the linebacker, Terrence Bennett. You talk about a linebacker, 6'1", 200 pounds, basically a big, strong safety, coming underneath the out route and sealing the victory for the Bulldogs.
Bennett with the 60-yard INT for the return. Terrence Bennett.
Here's a stat for you. Venters has thrown 5 interceptions on the year. 3 of them have been returned for touchdowns. Talk about unlucky.
For the point after, Grantham with 38 seconds to go. This one is no good. So they've missed a couple point afters, both teams today, and the field goal. And it was the 60-yard interception returned by Terrence Bennett.
Look at this, going from one hash mark, trying to go all the way out to the out route, and he was just covered. I mean, that's just one of those reads. You got to know that before you throw that football, that this DB is at great position. Man-to-man coverage, he's with them all along. You can't fault the wide receiver. You got to wonder why you're throwing the ball there, and he didn't have the arm strength to get it there. It's a good job by Bennett of making that catch, and it actually looked like Bennett was a receiver there. And I like how Bennett became aggressive after he got that.
He certainly did.
As a defensive back, once you get the interception, you go from DB to running back.
Last year, that young man, Terrence Bennett, was voted the team's defensive player of the year for the team. He was a walk-on. Didn't even come in under the scholarship, and he just elated his coach. Hey, I'm glad I let you on the team.
He sure did, you know, and thankfully for Buddy Pugh and staff, I mean, I think you get that 23-9 victory. It looks a little bit more impressive.
Yes, it does.
To the NCAA committee about you going on the road and walking away with a victory there. So,
especially against a team like Howard, who was ranked defensively number 2 in the nation in Division I AA against the run, and number 3 in total defense. And you talk about Terrence Bennett once again. He was the MEAC Defensive Player of the Week earlier in the year. Actually, for this play against Delaware State a week ago, he returned a fumble, 59 yards for a touchdown. So 2 weeks in a row, he's done something on the defensive side of the ball. Howard on the return out to the 31-yard line. 33 seconds of time remaining for the Bison as Potts made the the tackle. Don't forget, coming up next, right here, the U studio. Give you an update on all the scores and what's happening around the nation today. And we'll have the Skycam from Blacksburg, Virginia.
And not to bust the bubble on the Bulldog celebration, but Hampton's just taken a 17-10 lead over Bethune-Cookman down in Daytona Beach.
That might be it for them. They you know, when they get a hold of you and get you down, it's hard to come back. In fact, South Carolina State was ahead 10-0 in their game with Hampton, and Hampton came back to win that one 14-10. Venters steps back, lets it go.
Ooh, look out.
And are they going to call out a fumble, or are they going to call out a pass?
They should call that a setup, because Venters set his guy up for a collision there.
And we got a late flag by the referee himself. They're going to call it a completion. Rutherford hit and fumbled, and it's going to be South Carolina State getting the ball.
You know, that's one of the quarterbacks. You got to take responsibility. Once he gets turned around, he can't see out in front of him. You got a guy coming with a full head of steam, and that's your man there making a play. Marshall McFadden, the freshman, had a full head of steam going when he laid the boom to Rutherford. You can't blame Rutherford for that fumble there, and the ball running around on the turf out there.
Fourth turnover today for Howard University. They've had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. They had one, and all have occurred here in the second half.
You know, I think State came out here just established in the second half that they were going to dominate this game, and they matched the defensive intensity of Howard University.
We had a live ball, grasping the face mask, number 12 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Results of the play, a fumble and a recovery, South Carolina State.
So Venters under a little frustration after maybe trying to get to the play or help his team. Grab the face mask. Don't forget, coming up later, a special Skycam version of the game featuring 2 of the best teams in the nation, the Hurricanes from Miami, against Marcus Vick and the undefeated Virginia Tech Hokies, ranked number 3 in the nation right now. And at 10:45 Eastern, a SWAC matchup between the Tigers of Grambling and the Hornets of Alabama State. College football prime time tonight, right here on ESPNU. 17 seconds to go.
Isn't that hard to believe that baby Vic just may be better than his brother?
Well,
that's saying something. I don't shortchange Michael Vick at all.
I understand.
But, you know, from a pure throwing motion, that little Vic, he's got something with him. You know, he can throw that rock around. May not have that pure foot speed that his brother has, but it's scary to know you could have 2 Vicks in the NFL, almost like the Mannings. But the Manning's going to throw the ball. These Vic, they get up there, oh, my goodness.
Well, a long and tough day for Coach Ray Petty. A good day for Buddy Pugh and the Bulldogs of South Carolina State to make the plane ride home to Orangeburg a little easier this evening as they get ready for the Thursday night matchup with the Bears of Morgan State. 23-9, the final score, South Carolina State over Howard University. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports television. And for Jay Walker and all of us here at ESPNU, Charlie Neal saying so long from the most powerful city in the world, Washington, D.C. South Carolina for a MEAC matchup that could have 1AA playoff implications for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Can they live up to the challenge? Find out next. Oliver C. Dawson Bulldog Stadium on the campus of South Carolina State in Orangeburg, South Carolina, is the site of this MEAC matchup as the Bears of Morgan State take on the Bulldogs.